personally, I know it's been crazy for everybody, but the last couple of months for me has been a little bit slow.
Yeah.
But it seems like these periods of not having any opportunities at all, and then a big card comes up, which is normally not the way it goes. So you just spend most of my time getting that lower mid, sort of mid high end stuff, and you plug along with it. But now it's sort of feast or famine. I'll go
Yeah.
2-3 weeks without really any activity, and then a monster comes, and then it's quiet for 2 or 3 weeks, and another monster comes. So that's kind of what it's been like for me the last couple months, 2-3 months probably.
Yeah. I hear you, man. Like I've been finding that every time I go onto eBay, I go looking for cards. I'm finding it's like maybe I'm a bit different. There's so many things I want out there. There's so many cards that I want to buy because they're so cool. And of course, they're so much more expensive now than they would have been even a year ago. But it's like I'm finding it's like, how do I decide what to buy? Because you can't buy everything, and like it's and if you were to pick up a serious piece, that almost takes you out of action for other serious pieces that may come up. So I'm at a point right now where it's like I got to be more and more careful. The smaller cards, it's no problem. I'll keep chipping away at those. But if a big card comes up, a Grail type card or a real good investment piece, I'm finding myself to be a little bit more hesitant to pull the trigger because, it's just there's a lot of money at stake on some of these very important cards. So
yeah, that's there. And that's the thing about it is I'm finding, historically those big pieces that you kind of that you don't want to imagine yourself living without now that you know that they're out there. Those always seem to be so few and far between that you could kind of catch your breath financially and get back into some smaller cards and rebuild the bankroll, maybe move a little bit of stuff and whatever you got to do to just sort of get ready for the next one. Well, now it just seems like this whole feast or famine thing, it's monster card, 2 weeks of nothing, another monster card. So it's just I'm not getting the chance to really catch my breath, and these are all kind of cards that I like. Now that I know they're out there, it's like, well, I don't have a choice, right? I mean, it's me convincing myself that I don't have a choice, but that's kind of what it's been like. I mean, shields and one-on-ones, and it's just wow, like what's the gig with all this happening like in 4 months? It's just big card after big card after big card, but what do you do, right?
I know, man. Maybe I think part of it might just be that values are high and some people are thinking about cashing out a little bit, or maybe making some money, locking in some gains, and letting a card go and putting some money in the bank so they can put it into other cards down the road. So hey, we're live now. By the way, we got started a couple minutes ago here. Welcome everybody. See, we got some viewers now. Welcome back to After Hours. This is Jay Jokisch, my guest for the evening. We're going to go for as long as we can go for here tonight. I want to talk a bit about the episode we just had with Dr. Beckett. I always like to get my After Hours guests sort of opinion on any key nuggets you pulled out of his wisdom, anything that surprised you, that sort of thing. Before we do that, though, Jay, let's just see who we have with us. I didn't have time with Dr. Beckett. It's a limited time, so I didn't pay the amount of attention to the comments that I really love to do and get everyone involved. So let's do that right now, quickly. All right. We have Legion Italia with us again. Legion, welcome back. Great to see you. Amish Dave Archer, welcome. And how are you this evening? Charles, my man Charles is here. Legion says,
hey, Charles.
Legion says, Fear Lee Beard. Looking good. Thank you, Legion. The whole story with the beard was, over the Christmas holidays, I just didn't shave for a few days. And it's like, wait, I haven't really had a beard for like 4 years. I want to see how gray it is now. Well, it's coming in gray. So the age is showing. We have the card collector with us. Good evening to you. This person, I don't know who it is. I'm sure I know you, but that's why I have on the ticker right now. If you're watching on Facebook, if you can go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, click the big blue button, and then I'll know who you are, and it'll just make it much more fun for all of us. Terry Fortune, welcome, says, wow, great display. And yeah, just a little bit of behind the scenes information for all you guys out there. We got into the studio here, Jay and I, and Jay, the cards to the other side of him that are on the sidewall, they were kind of moved forward, I said, Jay, push them back. Let's get them right in the camera so we don't have any empty shelves. So he took a few minutes to move them back. So just to see how awesome his display is, like who doesn't want to live in that space right there, right? If you're a card collector, I know I sure would. Mike Truman, welcome back. 90s hockey collector. Good to have you. Absolutes here. Welcome, welcome. Shaving daily sucks, no doubt. Tiger Jordan, after hours with Jeremy and Sports Girls Ever the Best. Thank you, Tiger. Great to have you. Jordan, welcome to the show tonight. Big Daddy Cool. The breakout player in the NHL this year is Jay. Who is the breakout player in the NHL this year? Do you have an opinion on that?
My personal opinion, or who it's actually going to be?
Both.
I think, okay, as a Flames collector, if we're talking about rookies, I think Valimaki's going to have a big year.
Defenseman?
Certainly looks like it so far. Yeah, this is going to be considered his rookie year. He's been around the club for a little while, but with injuries and stuff, this is going to be his rookie year. But the breakout, the breakout player.
It's a tough question. I think Nathan,
and it's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean McKinnon's going to have a huge year, but if we're talking about rookies, man, I know there's a lot of people on the fence with this kid, and I think Lafreniere is going to have an amazing year. That whole team, the whole thing that the Rangers have going on right now, I think is going to be, it's going to be really fun to watch. I think just that whole thing and what they're going to be able to do and the talent that they've got on that team. I think not only is he going to benefit from that, but I think he's going to add to it. So, for a rookie, I think he's going to have a really, really good rookie year.
Well, he's got a lot. He's got great young supporting cast around him. That team is poised for success in the future. If I were answering the question, I think, again, it's tough to say because some of these guys have had good seasons. I think Elias Pettersson on the Canucks is going to have his best season yet. I'm hopeful that Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner can step it up and gain some consistency and, not just score 4 goals one game, then none for 5 games. I'd like to see these guys really do well. It would help the hobby, of course, being in the largest hockey card market, potentially being Toronto. And then I wonder, I'm also a Flames fan, Jay. We have that in common. I'm a huge fan of Matthew Tkachuk. I love his style. I love what he brings. I know he's one of these guys. If he's on your team, you love him. If he isn't, you don't. But his brother in Ottawa, Brady Tkachuk, another team that seems to have maybe turned a corner in terms of filling up their prospect cupboard and just kind of making moves that maybe these guys are going to they can only exceed expectations to a degree. There's really, the expectations are low. So it's one of those sorts of things. I think maybe Brady Tkachuk, along with Matthew, who's a star in my mind, he's a superstar, but maybe Brady Tkachuk can get in there too. Let's keep going here though. We have True Dang here. Welcome to the show. Really appreciate that. True that you love the show. Really, really appreciate that. And thank you so much for the kind words. Charles says that card room is just amazing. Amish Dave, who's got a big beard, says shaving daily is the absolute worst. Al, welcome. Oh, that was Al. Al's back on YouTube now. Thank you, Al. Ziggy Palfy is due to break through, no doubt about it. Ziggy Palfy's been retired for 10 years, but he might break through. Hockey says, do you sleep in that room? If you don't, how can you not? Yeah, Jay, have you ever had to crash down there?
I think when I originally built it, and my wife was actually able to see firsthand how much there actually was, I had to find a place to sleep for a couple of days.
Yeah. No doubt. Hockey Guy says Sharks dark horse this year is John Leonard. Interesting. I've never even heard that name before. So interested to hear if you're right and who this guy is. Joey Silva says Milan Lucic breakout player of the year. I mean, he had a great year last year for the Flames, but the guy brings clout. He toughens up the Flames for sure. Joe Thornton says hockey. I mean, if you don't know hockey and you're watching this, all these players that are being named, well, between Milan Lucic and Joe Thornton, these are guys who are like in their twilight. Joe Thornton's like 43. So Charles Hinn says Igor Zamula. There's a young prospect Charles has been very excited about for a while. Do you think anyone hits 100 points this year? It's a shortened season, so I'm going to go with no. Almost absolutely not. Brad Marsh, too funny. Hobby breakout player of the year, Ziggy Palffy. Could be. Keandre Miller, New York Rangers. Not a player I'm familiar with, but maybe he'll break out. Snap CX, and welcome to the show. Swervin Irvin says signing in as well. This will be my third show. Well, welcome for episode number 3, Swervin. Happy to have you. YYC Vintage. Yes, good to hear some love for Valimaki. No one in the hobby's talking about him. And that's because he's a defenseman. It's because he didn't play last season. He was hurt. But the guy is a stud defenseman along with Anderson. What's his first name on the team? Rasmus Anderson. Those guys are kind of like the future of defense in Calgary for sure. Hockey says, Jeremy, if those two can bury it, Thornton can set them up all game. Talking about Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. Yeah, I mean, he could be the difference for them. Maybe he does break out this year. Terry Fortune says Matt Barzal could break out. Yeah, another guy, almost like Elias Pettersson, has had good seasons, but needs to maybe take that next step and really lead his team. And I think Barzal is certainly poised for that. So I'm with you on that, Terry. Someone whose cards are probably going to – I'm not going to say what his cards will do. I don't want to do that, but I might need to go get myself an SP Authentic Future Watch auto of Matt Barzal one of these days here. Sorry, got ahead of myself here. Where were we? Hockey Guy says that's also the case if Jumbo Joe, being Joe Thornton, can keep up. True that. Do you both play fantasy hockey? I do. Jordan, how about you, Jay? Do you play fantasy hockey?
I don't. No, I don't. I've never got into that any fantasy anything.
No, you haven't, eh?
No, never got into it.
I've been doing it basically my whole life since the mid 80s. And so, yeah, Jordan, I've been playing it for a long time. I go in the odd, box pool. I have a keeper pool, a Yahoo Fantasy keeper pool where we keep a few players each year. But we lost 2 guys this year, so we're down to 8 teams, and we'll see. And it's a pride pool. There's no money involved. I think we're going to year 18 of this thing, and there's never been money involved. And believe it or not, it's the one I'm the most interested in every year, even when I have money riding on other pools. Daniel A, welcome back to the show, my friend. Brian Kingsley, welcome to the show. Charles says Gritty is going to be a breakout. That's the Flyers mascot. Amish Dave's hoping Dumba puts it all together this year. Yeah, Dumba's a guy that crossed my mind earlier when I saw a question, who do you think could really stand the test of time in the hobby? And I mean, Dumba's a stretch for that, but because of his political moves, he's somebody that could be remembered almost like a Kaepernick, even though on a much smaller scale. Daniel says Jack Hughes could break out on New Jersey, a first overall draft pick. Billy says, Jeremy, you and Jim look like twins. Thanks, Billy. I mean, no offense, Jim, but I'm a few years younger, Billy. Mike Truman says Timo Meyer could find the next gear. He'll have no shortage of opportunity. Now, did he move? Where's Timo Meyer now, Jay? Do you know? He was San Jose.
Yeah, he was with the Sharks originally, but that was 15-16, I think, was his draft year, or 14-15. I honestly, I don't even know if he's still there.
I'm not sure. He might have been moved. Feels like he might have been. Someone, Mike, if you could let us know, just out of curiosity. Adam D, well, what's up? Go Bills. That's right. I watched that game tonight because of my Josh Allen card, and I was happy to see him win and them kind of end that 25-year stretch of no playoff win. So congrats to the Buffalo Bills and their fans. Absolute says Shervin Irvin. We don't get to talk much NASCAR on here, but if you want to learn hockey, this is the place. Oh, there you go. I see that. Thank you, Absolute. Jordan says, Jeremy, would you do a league with some of your viewers? Yeah, why not? That's a great idea, Jordan. That's a neat idea. I think we need a special episode for a hockey pool. We get us all in the room. We get 10 guys in the room, and we all pick players. We got to figure that out. If you're not in the Facebook group for Sports Cards Live, please join the Facebook group, guys, because I'm going to start a thread in there, probably like tomorrow, to announce this, thanks to Jordan Reischer. And it's going to be a first come, first serve. The first 10 people to say they want in, we can fit on the screen and we can do a live draft one day. Awesome idea. I love it, Jordan. Great idea. Watch for the thread tomorrow, guys. I will put it up on the Facebook group. If you're not in yet, please come and join it. And if it asks you for a reference, just say Jeremy or you watch the show, anything like that. Hockey Guy says Kevin LeBanc better step it up this year for sure. Yeah, he's a guy that could step it up. David, welcome. Jeremy, you've been playing fantasy hockey and Gretzky goals. Yes, I have been, David. I've been playing since you split up the goals and assists into 2 different picks. I remember it well. Boy, do I remember it well. And the funny thing was that his assists would get taken first overall, and oftentimes his goals would go second overall. John Simone, loving that hockey is back. Any interesting players in 2020 hockey young gun set? I mean, as Jay mentioned, the Alexis Lafreniere is definitely one of them. Jay, I don't know a lot about the rookie. I'm not a guy that buys young guns to prospect in their first year. I do believe that hockey rookies take a bit longer to develop than other sports. So, but with that, Jay, are you in? Can you provide any sort of information on that or insight into other rookies in the young guns?
So I actually haven't even started doing Series 1 yet, which is late for me. Usually if I'm not in the first 72 hours after release, that's a long while. So I haven't even started yet. From what I can tell, I mean, just in, the content, what everybody's talking about, it just seems to me that this year from a collecting standpoint, everybody is Lafreniere or bust. You don't really hear all that much chatter going on about anybody else. But the good thing is that there's going to be some talent. There's going to be some really collectible cards in there, for sure. It just out of the gate, it doesn't appear to be the best rookie crop that we've just sort of been blessed over the last little while to have great rookie crops. Doesn't seem to be the best one, but there's going to be some great young guns to be had from some guys that are going to pan out where people aren't looking. I think that's just the feeling I get. I
think you're right. I wonder about Bowen Byram. He was in now I might be confused here, but I'm pretty sure because I watched a bit of the World Juniors and I'm pretty certain he was in there and did pretty well. I'll admit, I watched the last game and when I was looking at the stats for the tournament, I thought I saw Bowen Byram's name in there, and I do believe he's a young gun in the 2021 Series 1. So someone that maybe worth looking at. Canner Collects says, how will the new divisions affect the playoff picture? Man, let's wait and see, Canner. It's going to be awesome. I think the season is going to be so unique this year, and we're almost kind of lucky that we get to have this one-off season that never would have happened if it weren't for pandemic. So it'll be interesting to watch. B. Roy, opposite of breakout, anyone hyped who will pull a Patrick Stefan? I mean, great question. Who knows? I mean, all the pressure is on Lafreniere right now, and what's his name? Byfield. Quinton Byfield was a second overall pick. I mean, these guys have pressure, and they're expected to come out and do something right away. So, Kickdown says Sebastian Aho scores 40 this year. I mean, I think Aho is a great player. Sebastian Aho for the Carolina Hurricanes. Anyone out there doesn't know, he's a player worth looking at if you're someone who's looking for a hockey player to invest in or speculate on. And it's not his rookie year. His rookie year was 16, maybe 17, something like that. 16.
Yep, 16.
But that's when you want to get into hockey players is 4 years into their career, because you have a much better indication as to their long-term, performance. Early, it's a lot of gamble early on, I think, except for some of the great players. Here's a great Hockey Collect puts up Jack Eichel. To me, that's almost a no-brainer. I think he's going to break out this year. He's got Taylor Hall with him now, another great playmaker. So I can see something happening there for Jack Eichel. And he can't, don't forget, Jack Eichel was drafted second overall behind Connor McDavid. And some people would have put Eichel ahead of McDavid, a few. But in any event, definitely someone to consider. YYC says, hopefully we'll see some more love for defensemen with the breakout seasons by Makar, Quinn, Hughes, and Adam Fox last year. And I'm aligned with that. I think that I don't like the way defensemen get no love in the hobby. There are some really exciting defensemen in the league, Ray Bourque, Bobby Orr aside. Maybe this is the year because of these young players. If they can get in the top 15, 20 in scoring for the league, any of them, maybe we'll see a bit of a shift towards the hobby warming up to defensemen. Anything to say on that, Jay?
I think I agree with you. I think from a hobby standpoint, what it needs is, to have one of these guys, especially if you can get one of these kids to get up towards the top of the points leaders in the league. It's what it'll do for values for defensemen and for these cards to hold their value, not just sort of spike for a year. Everyone's going crazy for Makar stuff and everybody pays up for it. Sophomore, he has an average sophomore season, then, his cards plummet in value and every defenseman cards plummet in value. Everyone's dumping defenseman cards. And I think you're bang on. It just takes one of these. If one of these younger kids can do that and get into the top 30, the top 25 in scoring, I think it'll have a huge impact on the values and the hobby side of it. I think it'll make a huge difference. And it'd be awesome to see too, because they're just so skilled,
I'm with you, man. I've been tempted to collect defensemen, but then the hobby love thing kind of makes you shy away. And I wonder if it's more the hobby. We all are familiar with that lack of love for defensemen, that we just don't do it. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy versus let's give these guys a chance. I think back to Aaron Ekblad, a first overall pick in 2013 or 14, something like that. He had a cup rookie RPA at a 99, a hot, really cool looking, actually, his young gun, or was it his young gun canvas showed how much the bow and the stick, right? Mm-hmm. What a cool card. If you want to see a guy with a great shot, go check out his Young Guns canvas. His name is Aaron Ekblad, Ekblad. Check him out. Check out the card on ComC or eBay, and look at the flex in his stick. That they caught that shot was just amazing. But he had love very early, and then now he's a common for all intents and purposes. Charles calls out Connor Ingram, Morgan Frost, Joel Farabee, Jimmy Vesey, Capo Caco. Now, Vesey's rookie card is several years ago by now, or a couple years ago by now. Caco was the year before. Daniel A., my friend, says, loving my Crosby Ice, Jeremy. Thanks for the advice, buddy. Daniel, you're welcome. I don't own that card, Daniel. I still don't own that card. But congrats. I know you're excited. I was happy to talk to you about it. Timo Meyer still on the Sharks, top line now. Very good to hear. So that's a guy who could, top line on the Sharks. Logan Couture's on that, probably up there too. Could have a good year. YYC calls out Victor Olofsson, defenseman on the Buffalo. I think he's a defenseman on the Buffalo Sabres, isn't he? I think he's a defenseman. I might be wrong on that. Projected top line in San Jose: Meyer, Couture, and LeBanc. Yeah, I mean that's great, but that's not a great top line. That's one of the weaker top lines in the NHL. But if they gain some chemistry and play together, they could definitely develop and get their share of points for sure. Thank you, Mike, for letting us know. Still a Shark, 30 goals 2 years ago. Stumbled through the first year and a half before finding his game. Jordan's in for the hockey pool. Terry's in for the hockey pool. Yeah, guys, watch for the thread because unfortunately, it's gonna be one of those first come first serve things. And if you are gonna sign up for this hockey pool, you have to be able to make it to the live draft. We're going to do we're going to do the draft live on the channel. We'll broadcast it to YouTube and Facebook. It'll be a lot of fun. So Billy from Upper Deck, the man who creates Series 1 for us every year, says one of the Red Wings' last 4 to 5 first picks might step up. I don't know which one. Whichever ones that don't produce, I think Stevie Yzerman will dangle them at the trade deadline. I mean, you guys have like Bertuzzi's over there. There's a couple other young guys on that team. Dylan Larkin. I think the Red Wings are positioned a bit like the Rangers and the Senators and the Canucks. Good young core, just not there yet. But I think Vancouver's ahead, but we'll get there. Joey says would love to see Minnesota break out. Kirill Kaprizov, Minnesota Wild top prospect. That team, man, the Wild. They're just like. Their biggest, I think I said it a couple months ago, the biggest move they've ever made was when they signed Ryan Suter and Zach Parise in the offseason. They haven't been able to top that headline since then, but I wish them well. Big Daddy, we got to have a conversation about the price of grading and the length of time it takes to get cards back. PSA is 7.5 months. That's the discussion right there, Big Daddy Cool. That is the discussion right there. I don't know what else we can really say about it. Native Card Guy, hello to you. Native Card Guy, shout out to you, my man. You inspired me to take any revenue that the channel earns from the affiliation with Card Ladder is going to go to buy meals for homeless. And I even have a vision of like going out and just finding somebody and let's someone who might be hanging out outside of a Tim Hortons, buying them a meal, giving it to them, and even like saying, hey, I'm taking a picture sort of thing and spreading that because I think that's a good initiative. That really resonated with me when you brought that up a couple of weeks ago there, Native Card Guy. Hockey. Why doesn't Tim Stutzel have a Young Gun card yet? Well, it's just a matter of time. They save players for Series 2. Well said. Okay, guys. Foul Fireball. Jeremy, you should do a show about hobby supplies or the lack thereof. Have someone from Ultra Pro or BCW. Yeah, it's been suggested to have someone from Ultra Pro, BCW before. Yeah. I'll consider it for sure. I mean, I know there's a short of supplies. You can't find my neighbor who's in the hobby couldn't find sleeves anywhere in the city. We have 4 or 5 LCSs, couldn't find any sleeves the other day. So, but what else do you talk about? You can't find them. So we got to wait till they catch up, and then we find them, and then we're back to normal. So, but it is certainly an issue. Yeah, as hockey says, it's a logistical issue at this point. We have lots of comments here, Jay. So listen, I'm going to hold off on the comments, and we are 10 minutes behind them. But Jay, let's get to you, man. You obviously have the coolest backdrop. Well, we've had one other backdrop that would challenge yours. That was when I had the Monumental guys on.
Mm-hmm.
But this backdrop is spectacular. I want the audience to get to know you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your hobby history, when you got into the hobby, what you collect, and what drives you to and what are on the shelves. Give us your story.
Okay, let's start with the shelves. So directly over my shoulders, everything that you see on display, those are all Premier Mega Patch sleeves. So the players' numbers is what you see there. To my left, you can only see a portion of the display, but that's the shoulder patches, commemorative patches, my flame stuff. So the flags, the Canada flag and the Alberta flags. I'll see if I can turn this here for a sec so everybody can kind of see it. So those are that's the rest of the display for the mega patches.
Damn. We're all jealous of that display.
So that's what you see there. The binders are all base sets. So I'm also a set builder. And that can actually segue into when I started collecting. So I started collecting hockey cards when I was 7. I'm now 43. And there were very few years in between where I didn't collect. A couple of years in college just because I didn't have the money to do it. But I've been collecting hockey cards ever since then. So, buying packs when I was a kid and, buying a box when I got into a teenager, and then, into my 20s was buying cases, and that was sort of the way I just went through. And, I still kind of, as much as the hobby's changed, because it has, values and what it costs to be in the hobby is a lot more expensive than it used to be. And it seems, through all these decades that guys have always sort of changed what they did and how they collected. And, of course, I collect things now that I didn't collect before just because you didn't have access to them. Cards have changed, but I still build base sets.
Do you do anything other than, are you only hockey, or do you collect any basketball, football, baseball, anything else?
Just hockey. I think like everybody that collected cards in the 90s, I did the 91 Upper Deck baseball set.
Yeah.
Right? The one that had, I think it's 91, the one that had the Jordan baseball card in it, where he's in the batting cage.
Yeah, that was the SP1. You had the big, I remember the Todd Van Poppel was a very popular card that year. Remember that? Eric Karros, and there were a few others that were, you don't hear these guys anymore. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was the only time I ever got into any other sport. And that was just a product of, that was a time where I was really passionate about collecting hockey cards. And where I grew up in a small town, when the local store stopped selling hockey cards, that was it. You couldn't buy hockey cards anymore. So just, I had the itch and got into baseball cards, and that was it. It was just always hockey. So, to this day, I'm still collecting base sets, and I'm not ripping wax and throwing cards in the recycling box. I build all the base sets and put them into a binder, and I catalog them to which cards I'm missing, so I can get onto eBay and buy them, or trade with some local guys. And, just been doing that for as long as I can remember, and I still enjoy it. So
you're a true collector, and you've really, like, I'd say, leveled up to these mega patches, which is you're well known. Like, you're known among within Instagram and your followers, and among some Facebook groups. You're well known as being the mega patch guy. Even at the Sport Card Expo in Toronto last time we got to go to it, I mean, there's people there that know you, that have dealt with you, that are almost like scouting the floor, looking for cards for you. You know, Matthew Lee comes to mind, a guy who I've known for years at the show. I know you've dealt with Matt a few times. Like, there's people out there. So it's funny how in the hobby you can become well known for your very narrow scope of what you collect, even though it doesn't look so narrow because you've got that amazing display behind you. But that's what's kind of fun about the hobby, right? You become kind of known, and then when someone finds something, they let you know, hey, I'm sure you get, let me ask, do you get texts all the time with links to Facebook posts or eBay listings with cards that you might be interested in?
Yeah, so a little bit to your point, yeah, I have, a handful of friends in the hobby that are always looking. They're constantly on the lookout. Especially at shows that I can't make it to, and if they see something, they're on the phone. It's a picture, and they're sending me a text message or a Facebook message about the card and who's got it and what they're looking for, and some of them even as far as they just are so aware of my collection. They know it's a card that I'm gonna want and it's priced right. They'll just buy it. And, just sort of send me a message saying, I picked this up. It's, $175 or whatever it is, like to that point. But in regards to messages and reaching out, it's, I still get quite a few. I don't get as many as I used to. When Beckett did their article about my Mega Patch collection, the months that followed that was pretty extreme. It was, there were days where it was dozens, but that was more a product of, I think there were lots of people that had a few Mega Patches, like 3 or 4, and then saw this article and were like, if I'm ever going to sell these things, this is the guy. Yeah. So there was lots of messages from people like that had a couple of them didn't really, they thought maybe they would collect them and then sort of lost interest just based on how difficult the sets are to collect. So it was lots of messages from people like that. But now, it's not a daily thing, but a couple times a week for sure. Some of the guys are, messaging me about stuff that they've seen in a group.
Are you there?
You still there?
Yeah, still here. Yeah, keep going.
I'm kind of here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of here. We're okay.
I think so. You're a little choppy right now. If anyone in your house is watching Netflix or something like that, you might want to ask them.
Okay. So, a few times a week, and the thing about Mega Patches.
I gotcha. Sorry, guys. I'm not sure if it's Jay or myself who's
I don't think there's anybody left in my house that's still awake, to be honest with you, man.
Okay, well, let's just fight. There's
only 2 of us, and there's no chance she's still awake.
Okay. Well, we'll just wait for it to clear up. In the meantime, I want to address a comment.
Can you hear me, Jeremy?
I do. Yes, I hear you.
Okay.
So
yeah, I don't. There's probably nobody in the house that's using the internet.
Okay.
I'm a little bit rural. I'm not exactly in the city, so
Okay, well, Jay, until it clears up, I'm going to address some comments that came through. Was it?
I can still hear.
Jordan says, "How will you balance collecting versus investing?" Okay.
But there's the thing about.
Okay, I'm gonna take Jay out for a minute, and we're gonna let Jay sort of take that off my forehead. We will let Jay work that out, and I'll bring him. Jay, if you can hear me, I see you there. I'll bring you back in a couple minutes, okay? Just hang tight for a second. Hang tight. I want to address this comment by Jordan. How will you balance collecting versus investing with the upcoming Metal Universe release? There's going to be no balancing for me, Jordan. I'm going to buy as much of it as I can, whether it's investing or it'll be collecting first. Not so much investing, but I do believe in the product, and I want to have lots of it. Absolute. Is McGuire's sponsoring Sports Cards Live yet? I just ordered my bottle. No, it is not. And I did reach out to them way back and said, do you have an affiliate program or something? I'm gonna send you a few sales here and there. And they said, we don't. So I'm still going to send them some sales because you guys need to know about this stuff. It's good stuff. Okay, let's try and bring Jay back on right now. Jay, or how is your connection now, buddy? Can you hear me? Okay, we're going to take you out one more time. Top 2 picks in the 2017 draft were snooze fest. I don't remember who they were, but let me know, Hockey. Hit the thumbs up if you like the show, if you like the technical difficulties. You know, we've been fortunate. We haven't had technical difficulties on the show too much in recent months. Ever since I got hardwired into my router, into my modem, we haven't had technical difficulties. But Jay said he's rural, so that's too bad. But hopefully his connection will clear up and we'll bring him right back on. He is still in the back room there. I can see him. Anyone got any Aaron Ekblads? There you go. Okay, I am behind. David G called out Rasmus Dahlin, defenseman on the Buffalo Sabres. Could have a great year for sure. Hockey. Any thoughts on Chris from Card Ladder taking your charity comment and going the direction of... Okay, that's hockey. Not cool. We don't know. How would you say that? Okay. Defenseman, all I can see is Duncan Keith's spike during cup runs and depressingly low now. No, that's very true. I've noticed that myself. What are your thoughts on Shane Wright coming up in 2 years? Yeah, Sandro, good call. If you guys haven't heard of Shane Wright, he's apparently 15 or 16 years old right now, and Billy can speak to him if Billy's still out there. But this guy is my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that he's going to be the second coming of Sidney Crosby. So that's going to be very exciting for the hobby. Can't wait to see what that means for sure. All right, Jesse. Jay, could Val... Okay, Jay is trying to get back in. Let's see. There he is. Jay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It seems to be... Yep.
Okay, question for you. Could you see Juuso Välimäki winning the Calder Trophy? So the Calder Trophy is for the Rookie of the Year, everybody. And, I mean, it's going to be tough to go to Välimäki, but you never know. If he's good enough, he could win the Rookie. He could win Rookie of the Year for sure. Jay, do you have any quick thoughts on that?
Yes. I don't think you could ever say definitively before the start of a season that a rookie doesn't have a shot at it. But I think that would be a tall order based on, you know, the type of season I think Lafreniere is going to have with the team that he's on. I think as a Flames fan, the positive is in the last few years, we've been able to see what young defensemen can do, the kind of impact they can have. Yeah. So I'm reluctant to take it completely off the table, but I think it would be a long shot. I'd love to see it. Trust me.
Fair.
That'd be a dream.
Hockey says Shane Wright is no McDavid, but should be decent. Okay, well, I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's not the second coming of Sidney Crosby. I just thought I'd heard that. Do you think Matthew Tkachuk will lead the Flames? Yeah, he's already leading the Flames. I mean, you know, Sean Monahan is just like a quiet guy. He's not captain material. Giordano, the captain, is just getting older, you know, but he's still captain material. Johnny Gaudreau, not a chance. I think the natural progression is going to be to Matthew Tkachuk. It's only a matter of time. We could see it. You know, if they make a move and move Giordano, I think he's the guy that takes the COA or is the beneficiary of that for sure. Olofsson is a forward. Thanks for clearing me up on that. Maybe playing with Eichel and Taylor Hall. That'd be great for him. Is Matthew Tkachuk the second coming of Theo Fleury? I mean, I think they're different players, but there's some similarities. Fleury was awesome back in the day, but I'm a big fan of Matthew Tkachuk. Välimäki couldn't win the Calder, sadly. Maybe he's just maybe he's played too many games. Philip Zadina, Detroit Red Wings prospect, is someone that a lot of people had a lot of hope for a couple years ago for sure. There's some Calder Trophy hype. Again, Calder Trophies for the Rookie of the Year, if you don't know, around Kirill Kaprizov. Hello, 19th Vintage. Welcome to the show. Fleury wasn't a gutless puke, says Hockey. Yeah, Matthew Tkachuk, first of all, he's not gutless. People that think he's gutless just like to say that because it's popular. But the only time he ever turtled was when he got attacked from behind and was taking punches to the head. So he protected his head, Hockey. I'm sure you do the same. Even if you were a hockey player. Good to hear, Native Card Guy. Happy that warms your heart. John Simone, do you know much about and can explain the UD Canvas parallel plate cards that are one of ones? I got one in my 2019 NHL packs. they are what they are, John. Upper Deck uses the plates from the printing of the cards. They make them cards themselves. Put them into packs. They just use the plates. They've been doing that for quite a long time now, actually. James Hummel, welcome, buddy, and thank you for the kind words. Always enjoy having you on the show as well, like in the chat. And you are scheduled to be my guest in the future, so look forward to having you. Charles says, my super unknown pick for a breakout player in the next couple of years is Caden Fulcher, goalie for the Red Wings. I mean, Charles pulls out. It's funny. Charles either can tell you about players from the 50s and 60s or tell you about players from 2025 and forward. I love it, Charles. Charles is our 14-year-old sales data analyst consultant. Ultra Pro has been making COVID face shields. Well, and that's probably a good use of their time. And if the hobby has to take a hit in the supplies category, I think we should just be willing to accept that. Todd Van Poppel was great for 3 innings, right? The Jordan batting is going for 300, give or take, in a PSA 10 now. Yeah, that was a big card back in the day. Todd Van Poppel had it in his contract that he wasn't allowed to mow his lawn. Yeah, there's got to be a story behind that. Oscard, I love the collector episodes. Too much profit investment talk in the hobby, in my opinion. No doubt. There's lots of it. So, yeah, it's nice to get Jay on here with us and really learn more about it. And, guys, put your questions in the chat that you have for Jay. I'm going to whip through the comments to try and catch up with them right now, but get some comments and questions for Jay if you want to know anything about him, his approach to the hobby. I always find it's most interesting to learn about people's approaches to the hobby. Look at the beautiful display. No doubt, peeps. No doubt. It's something that we can all, like, I know I see that. It's inspirational, Jay. Like, I want to totally cover my walls behind me with cards and get rid of what I have. The problem is my son's going to be 2 in March, and he rips everything he can. So if I had cards on the wall, that'd be a bad. I mean, they'd get hurt. He would eat them. So I got to be careful with that. Here we go. Oscar says, does Jay do any player collecting or just sets and patches? If so, what players are player, Jay?
From a player standpoint, I do the sets, of course, the mega patches. Specific players, I will do Calgary Flame current roster players and retired stars. So I right now, Flames, I'm doing Goudreau, Kachuk, Valimaki, Anderson, Shillington, Mangiapane, and Dubé. So those are the specific players. As far as other Flames cards, I'll do any player, any card that's got one of the 2 flag patches in it. But as far as particular players go, I collect what goes into the base sets. So when I talk about the base set is I'll do, I'll use the cup as something that's simple. So when I talk about the base set, I'll do, the very base cards. So 1 to, I think they go to 50. And then the RPAs. So those fall into the set category for me and not the specific player. So when I do all of those sets, I find myself chasing the same players that everybody is chasing, but for different reasons. I'm trying to finish the set and everybody's trying to get a Marner or a Matthews Cup RPA or a McDavid Cup RPA, and I'm chasing them just to finish the set. But as far as specific players go, where I'm not doing the rest of the team, or I kind of go off the beaten path as far as my PC goes and how I collect, are very specific Flames players.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Dave Jones, welcome to the show. No problem that you're late. No problem, man. Just happy to have you. Jordan says to both of us, Jay, what are your 1 to 2 recent additions to your collections that were most challenging for you to pick up? I mean, I don't really have an answer for that. Most challenging to pick up. It seems that there's no real, I don't know, man. Nothing comes to mind. How about for you, Jay? I think Jay's on a short delay.
Oh, challenging. Yeah, sorry. It seems clear on my end.
It's okay.
As far as challenging pickups, so as a Flames collector, the Flames are not a team that I would consider. There's lots of people outside of our local market that collect Flames players, but within the local market, and of course a couple of guys outside. There's a really big Kachuk collector in Quebec, and there's a few guys spread out. But within the local market, there's a handful of very, very hardcore Flames collectors. So for challenging cards, when a nice rare nice patch or a short print or even a 1-of-1 Flames card comes up, those are always challenging. They're always challenging for me because there's a lot of really great collectors that are trying to get the same type of cards that I'm getting. But recent 1 or 2 editions, I recently picked up my 4th Matthew Tkachuk 1-of-1 auto shield. That's on its way to me from ComC. So that was a recent pickup. I don't have it in hand yet, but I was able to make the deal. Actually, Matthew Lee made the deal for me when I was in the hospital. Worked that deal and found the card and knew I was out of commission for a little while. So he picked the card up and sort of facilitated when I was in the hospital. And another one. I don't want to go too far back, but I also was able to pick up the Valimaki Exquisite Rookie Auto Shield not too long ago. So that was a pretty big pickup for me.
Nice, man. Well, congrats on those pickups. Peep says, how would you feel about a Topps Project 2020 type release for hockey cards? Yeah, I would love it, Peeps. I would love it. I love the Lemieux theme, the Yzerman theme, the Gretzky theme, going all the way back to the 54 Topps, Gordie Howe, the Bobby Hull. I mean, yeah, I'd love it. I'd buy them. I'd do the set. I'd collect all 400 cards probably, unless there were some artists whose art I just didn't like, which was the case for me with the baseball Topps product, but I'd be all over it for sure. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I'd be into it. Jordan says, construction on the new Flames Arena set to start in August. What are your thoughts on the project? Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's great, but I don't know. I don't know how necessary it really is for me. I mean, I think we're kind of following what happened up in Edmonton. They built the most state-of-the-art sports facility in the world right now. So it's almost like we're trying to keep up with the Joneses, but I don't know. I'm neither here nor there. I like going to watch games in the Saddle Dome. Jay, what do you think about this the new arena they're building here?
I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Jeremy. I enjoy going to the Dome. I think this project is more. I think it goes beyond just hockey. I think the city feels it's missing out on a lot of concerts and other stuff that takes place in arenas, and the World Juniors refusing to play games and in the Saddle Dome because it's too outdated and doesn't work anymore. I think it's more. There's a combination of things. We need a facility that fits more people for revenue and the gate, and I get that. I've been to Edmonton and seen a couple games, and it's an amazing venue. But I remember, growing up in Montreal, going to the Forum and watching a hockey game, and you have that intimacy that comes with an old barn. And the Saddle Dome is very much like that. I mean, the atmosphere in the building is amazing. And, the concourse isn't great. It's pretty small and tight. And, I think they want to get some more revenue by concessions and bigger concourses, and I get it. I get why they want to do it. I could take it or leave it. If they decided to not go forward with it and we ended up going back to the Dome, I'd be happy with that too.
Okay, Jay. Here's a question. I'm going to put this question up for you. You think about it for a second. Even grab it if it's around. A hockey guy wants to know what's your favorite non-Flames PC card. So if that comes to mind. Think about it for a second while I address a couple of other comments here. The Big Unit says, first live stream with Sports Cars Live. Hey, welcome to the first live, Big Unit. Happy to have you. ComC Barry's here. Dennis Gurianov scored 20 goals and led the Stars in goals, yet was 19th on the team in average ice time. Yeah, that's weird from a coaching perspective, Barry. I would look for that to turn around this year ahead. Dave Archer, Jay, what's your favorite 90s insert set? So, Jay, a couple questions for you. Your favorite 90s insert set and your favorite non-Flames PC card. Are you ready to answer either of those questions? Go ahead.
Okay, so my favorite non-Flames PC card is is also my favorite card in my collection, is my Bobby Orr rookie card. So I got that card when I was 9 or 10 years old, and I got it by cutting my neighbor's grass for an entire summer, which is a lot of work. You know, it wasn't cut it when I felt like it was cut it when he felt like it. So I worked a lot that summer to get that card, and I've had it ever since. And it's always been my favorite card, just, you know, for how I got it, how old I was when I got it, and the fact that I was able to hold on to it for as long as I've had it. So that's for sure my favorite card. And what's my favorite 90s insert set? Man, how was that for a question?
Donruss Stubble, Amish Dave. Donruss Stubble. I was looking at some Gretzky's today from that.
I don't know what my favorite 90s insert set is.
Well, that's okay. We'll keep going. Evolve Rental says, "Does Jay, do you have Panini Prime colors or just Upper Deck Mega patches?" I don't know if you can hear me right now. Jeremy, buy a case of Pro Set. No, I've
just
done that.
Mega patches. Just I never got into. I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, you're on a delay, Jay. Jay, you're on a delay. If you can hear me, I want you to go out of the studio altogether and come back in through the link. All right, go out and come back in through the link, please. Okay, so Jay hopefully heard that, and we'll come back in through his link, and we'll maybe he'll catch up to us here. Charles says, Jay, and a serious question, by the way. Oh wait, he was there. Now he's gone again. Let's see if he comes back. Do you buy from the meat dealer at the Toronto Expo? I think he's a legend. I don't know that Jay's been to the Expo. Can't remember if he's ever been there. Jesse, lots of questions for Jay. I love it. I guess I asked for them. You guys are putting them up there, and now we're having trouble with him. So let's see if he's not back yet. So hopefully he comes back in a minute here. Lots of questions for Jay. I love it, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Did you grade the Orr? Oh, here he is. He's coming back. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Okay. Jay, can you hear me? Oh, I wish he said yes. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So you're a little bit behind, but that's okay. Let's just keep on going.
I did say yes.
Okay. Jay, have you ever been to the Expo? Ooh, this delay is going to really start to annoy me, guys. This delay is not going to work for me much longer. So give me your suggestions in the comments, guys. What should we do with Jay for the rest of the evening? Should we, because I just think his internet connection is not going to hold up here, guys, unfortunately. So we have a couple options. We have a couple options here, guys. Is there somebody in the chat that wants to come on and join me for the balance of the episode, and we'll let Jay work it out and maybe come back as well? If there is, make a comment and I will share the link with you and you can come in here. Let me know if anybody wants to come join, and we'll just ask him to show off big cards. That's a good point. That's a good point, native card guy. Jay, can you hear me right now? No, he doesn't have his earphones in. And we've lost him. We've lost him. Thanks for the suggestions, guys. This happened once before, and then I think it was Carlos and Bobby Burrell came on and kind of saved the day. That's when we had Steven LaRoche on the show, and his connection just wasn't good either. So I guess we're here on episode about 100 or so between the regular show and After Hours, and this is only the second time. So I'm going to answer the questions that came in for Jay, and we'll see if he can come back. So, Charles, I do not buy meat from the meat guy at Expo, but I can smell it. I can smell it throughout. Jesse says, Jay, when COVID passes, you should have some fellow Flames fan over to see your card. Okay, so Jay is now back on his phone. Jay, can you hear me on your phone? Can you hear me on your phone, buddy?
Can you hear me better now, Jeremy?
Not better, but I hear you. Hearing you is what's important right now. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Are we on the same timeline here? Jay, I need you to say something.
Jeremy, is this working any better?
Well, it's working, but I can't tell if you hear me or not. Can you hear me, Jay?
Is this working any better?
Big echo, guys. Okay. So, Jay, no, it's not working any better. It's not working any better. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on going here. Evolve. I love my Flames Prime colors with half the Alberta flag. Yes, those are really cool. No doubt. I like them as well. Legion. Jay, what do you think of manufactured mega patches? I don't think they do manufacture. So, Legion, a mega patch is a specific like insert set, if you will. I don't think they do manufactured mega patches. I think other patches are manufactured, but not the actual mega patches from Premier. Okay, I'm going to try to bring Jay on one more time. Jay, are you with me? You're not really with me, are you? Okay, David G, my 3-year-old was all over my cards this morning. There's a fine line between happy your son is interested and freaking out. Yeah, it's mostly freaking out because of condition, Dave. But he's still not even 2, so it's not interest as much as he came in and grabbed a pack of sticky notes and walked around with this for half an hour this morning, gleaming with pride. So it doesn't really matter what it is. the JR Exotic says, Jay, will you ever post your patch collection online? It would be helpful for other collectors who are looking for certain pieces that will or will not move out of your collection. Yeah, I wonder if he would do that. But we can't ask him right now because he's not with us at the moment. So I'm going to try and carry this myself. Rich, how do you order the cards? Jay's not here to answer, but let's guess. I'm going to guess the way they look the best. PLJ, long time no see. Any mega patch piece that you prefer over others? For me, I prefer the sickest ones. Not a huge fan of the numbers patches, but the sickest ones for sure. This is weird. I'm answering questions from guys. I apologize, but help me get through this. Support me in this. Support me in this. Hockey guy. Jay, do you have anyone holding cards hostage from you? That's a good question, right? That's an issue. That's an issue. People know you're collecting something. They may hold it hostage from you. I don't know that I've had that happen, but you never know. Probably have. JR, good evening to you as well. Rich, what do you believe? What do you do to deter the dust problem? Yeah, that's a great question. When you have your cards out like that, they're going to get dusty. I don't know what Jay does about it, but I don't do anything for mine behind me. I should probably get out and dust those shelves off pretty soon. Hockey, Upper Deck only goes back to 1990s. If they did something similar to Project 2020, it would be a bust. Yeah, but I wonder if Topps could do it. I wonder if Topps owns any of their old images still. You got to think they do. You know, so Peachy that was bought by Upper Deck, not Topps. So I could see Topps doing it, but do they have the license to do it? Yeah, they probably couldn't do it. Goes on to say, government funding stadiums is an example of capitalism just being socialism for the rich. Hockey. Let's keep the politics off of my show. Okay, Native Card Guy got rid of my Calgary ticket booklet last year. Wish I hadn't. Yeah, those are cool. Sweat equity in the Bobby Orr, right, peeps? He built up sweat equity in his Bobby Orr. Anyone else have a similar story to that where you actually had to sweat to earn a card? I mean, I used to do chores around the house to get allowance so I could go buy cards at the corner drugstore at the pharmacy, and they used to carry the O-Peaches and the Topps basketball, baseball, all that back in the 80s. Native Card Guy's favorite 90s insert set was the hologram set. Yeah, the original for sure. I wonder if he created a Zora Terry. Can't speak to it. Don't know. Maybe he'll let us know. Amish Dave, you got the stubble Gretzky. Stay away from Brodeur. I got the Gretzky already, Dave. I'm gonna go, but buddy, I'm sorry to let you down. I'm gonna go for a Brodeur one of these days. I will. There's a couple guys in that set I don't need, but overall, it's a pretty cool looking set. You got Paul Coffey on the Whalers in there too, which I have already. Jordan Reisher says, are there any products from the 90s or early 2000s that were discontinued, which you would love to see brought back? Yeah, but it's impossible. Topps Heritage Hockey was one of my favorites from the early 2000s. And boy, would I love to see that back. But there's, Topps doesn't have a license. Native Card Guy, no, you cannot have the jersey behind me. I am sorry. Then we're giving, thanks for the advice for Jay. Jordan Reisher would be happy to join me. Okay, so Jordan, I am going to, and you're the first person I saw. So if anybody else mentioned that, I'm going to apologize. But Jordan, are we friends on Facebook? Are we friends on Facebook? Let me see. I do not see you coming up in my Facebook. So what I will do instead is, oh, wait, Jay's trying to come back. Jay is trying to come back. Let's see. Jay.
Is this any better?
Yeah, well, let's see. Do you hear me?
I do hear you.
Okay. Okay, tilt your screen so I can see. Tilt your screen towards you so your head is higher up so I can see your face because I have my camera in front of my monitor. There we go. Okay, so Jay, we're just going to pick up where I just left off. Thank you, Jordan, for offering. Thank you, Charles, for offering. Thank you, Native Card Guy, for offering. Adam Bailey says, Expo is going to be jammed when it's a go, just wall to wall. I hear you, man. It's going to be crazy. I cannot wait for that to happen. Peep says, Jeremy, do you buy meat from any vendor at Expo? No, I do not. There's one vendor at the Expo who's known for selling the meat, like literally like pepperoni sticks, and you smell it everywhere. People buy it, walk around eating it, and it's like on their breath. It's almost offensive. But Jay, the question was asked earlier. Do you go to Expo? First of all, yes or no? Have you been?
I don't. Nope.
You don't.
I don't go. Yeah, they're not because I have anything against it. I mean, I think just like everybody else, I think it's great. It's always been a time thing for me. Trying to find the time to get out there is challenging. I'm a small business owner, and I also manage the business. So finding the time to get away at the time that the expo is normally held has been really difficult for me.
Well, hopefully you can make it out there at an upcoming expo. You'll love it, and then you'll find a way to get there in the future after that, I gotta think. Native Car Guy says this year there will not be any Supreme patches. What's your thoughts on that? I wasn't aware of that. So SP Game Used, no Supreme patches this year. That's news to me, but hey, it is what it is, right? I guess Upper Deck's maybe mixing things up on that brand, which people are always asking for newness and innovation, and maybe that's what they'll do. Maybe they figure it's run its course. But I know there's some loyal collectors out there of Supreme patches, which is like basically half the card is a patch. Okay. Big Unit says hockey card prices will explode when Star Stock finally takes submissions. I mean, that's like a big load of sort of I don't know, responsibility on Star Stock when it comes to hockey card prices. Hockey card prices have exploded. I don't see it, you Big Unit. I just don't see it. I don't see that. Well, maybe on some of the current young players. Yeah, I mean, maybe, you know, you're probably right. You're probably right. Some rookie cards will explode when those players play well. So, yeah, sorry, I had to kind of think that through because, you know, we talked earlier with Dr. Beckett tonight that Star Stock is a very niche platform for just rookie cards. And really, it's mostly, I believe, used for the commodity type rookie cards, which Young Guns are. So if they could just get the Young Guns on there, I could see you being right, Big Unit, and there being more demand for Young Guns because people will want to buy and sell them during the games. That's what Star Stock's built for. So interesting take, man. I hadn't thought of that, but thanks for kind of challenging us with that one. Amish Dave says, I've got the Brodeur stubble, so I can allow that. Thank you, Amish Dave. I appreciate it. Yeah, I want the Pavel Bure and the Lemieux too, for sure. There's an Yzerman in that set. I think I have that one already. Jordan, friend me on Facebook if you can. Just send me a friend request. So next time this happens, we can get you on. I bet the Bure doesn't have stubble. Yeah, he was a bit of a baby face for sure. Cardboard King wants to know, when is Cup set to be released? Cup is set to be released. I think they said February 24th was what I originally heard. Jay, have you heard anything to corroborate that or anything different?
At end of February, as far as I know. Is it going to get pushed back? Maybe. You know, it might get pushed back a little bit. I would say, if you were betting on it, bet for March, end of February, you know, first couple weeks of March.
Yeah. Native Car Guy says March. Okay. Foul Fireball did body work on a truck for a 69 Jackson rookie card. That would be the Reggie Jackson rookie card, I believe. Yes, which I used to have until I sold mine earlier this year. I had a PSA 8, which I sold, and of course I'm regretting it. And it's tough. You know, you sell cards sometimes to make room for others, and then you're like, why did I sell it? It's like I should have just found different money instead of a card to sell. But hey, sometimes you got to do it. Cardboard King, I don't know if anyone knows exactly when Cup is coming out, but I think we've narrowed it down a little bit here for you. Jeremy, what's the highest graded Gretzky you have? Well, if you're talking about his rookie card, I have his Topps rookie in the PSA 9, and my highest OPC is a PSA 8. But I have a few PSA 10s from other cards, but you know, there's several of those. Okay, Jordan, thank you. Jeremy and Jay, when do you expect to change? Sorry, what do you expect to change most in the hobby from 2020 to 2021? Jay, can you do you have any thoughts on that yourself?
I think there's going to be a little bit of a cooling off. You know, not necessarily because there's going to be a decrease in demand or that there's some catastrophic breakdown that's going to happen. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are fundamentally scared of this bubble to burst. But I think 2020 has just been so many people have, with COVID and being at home and just looking for something to do. I think it got a lot of new people into the hobby and, sort of reinvigorated some people that might have left for a couple of years and cooled off. So I think it's more a product of 2020 being extraordinary, more than anything else. But I think it'll cool down a little bit. But I think it's still going to be a great year for the hobby.
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar to 2020. I think some people will just, I think it might be bigger because of what I talked about with Jim Beckett earlier tonight, the whole FOMO thing. I think a lot of people are feeling like you got to get cards now before they go up. And if the hobby continues to feel that way, cards are going to keep going up because people are going to continue to put money into them. So that's demand. More demand means higher prices. So as long as people have that kind of fear in them, they're going to keep on buying, I think, and cards are going to continue to go up in value. But I don't like to prognosticate too much into the future because I'm always wrong when I do this. So I just want to let it happen and just ride the wave and enjoy it, even though it is fun to speculate on it. I want to go back in time, Jay, because there were a couple of good questions when we were having technical difficulties. JR Exotic says, will you ever post your patch collection online? It might be helpful for other collectors that are looking for certain pieces that will or will not move out of your collection. What do you have to say to that?
So yeah, that's actually a great question. And there's a couple of things I want to touch on with that. I'm in the process of getting a lot of my collection onto a platform that can be shared virtually so people can get in and see what I have and kind of enjoy it. On the mega patch side, that is, it's a difficult task for a couple of reasons. One, just based on volume. Taking that amount of pictures and the sorting involved, to sort by player and team, logistically is really complicated. But I am working on doing something like that. And I think the biggest part to your question is the amount of patches that I have, mega patches that I have. I absolutely have stuff that collectors are looking for specific players and teams to finish their sets, and stuff that they might be working on. A year ago, maybe 8 months ago, I actually made the decision to stop collecting chest patches. And the reason being is, I'll try and make a long story short, but when I got into collecting mega patches the first year, 2014, there were not a lot of guys that were collecting them. The hobby and the market was not very responsive to them. So I started getting huge numbers of these chest patches and started collecting all of these patches and different kinds in the sleeves. And the chest patches, at the height of it, I had well over 1,000 of them. I don't know what the final number was, but it had gotten to a point where over the years, having gone into the 4th release of Premier and the Mega Patch, that there were a lot of collectors that had gotten into it. And I found that what was happening was my collection was really starting to get in the way of other people's collections. And I had cards that were really meaningful to them and wanting to complete their sets. And I made the decision to move my chest patches to give those collectors a chance to find those cards and try and finish off those sets. So as it relates to my mega patch collection, is that aside from my flame stuff, there's very few there's very few mega patch cards that I wouldn't move to somebody that was looking to finish the set. My philosophy has always been on that as a collector, is that all I ask for is just is a similar mega patch and trade. So if I've got a Kuznetsov shoulder patch that somebody's trying to finish off a set for, and they reach out to me, I'll absolutely move that card. And I just ask them to find me a similar mega patch, a similar shoulder mega patch for a different player, and I'll work the trade that way. That's so awesome. It's really an effort. I really try my best to not get in the way of somebody else's collection, just so that I have a specific card.
That's an amazing gesture, man, that you made to really to dispose, well, to make those cards available from your collection to make other collectors happy. You don't hear many stories like that in the hobby. You hear, I mean, sometimes you do. There is generosity in the hobby, but more often I'm used to hearing about people hoarding cards, to keep them from other people, and you're doing the exact opposite. Very inspiring way to lead by example. I'm surprised I've only learned of this about you right now for the first time. I wish I knew about this earlier. I would have been talking about it and trying to get it out there for other people to hear about. So I just lost Jay. I don't know if the rest of you guys did, but I don't see him anymore. He's spinning in the back room there. So we'll hope he comes. I'm going to take him out for a minute and hope that his connection gets better here in a few seconds. I'll keep my eye on that down in the corner there. And I was just going to ask him, Rich, your question about how he orders them. So we'll try and come back to that. I'm going to go to the end of the comments here to see what you guys are all talking about. Let's see here. Hockey says, if the bubble bursts, hockey will be the last to feel the effects. Similarly, how hockey was the last to feel the effects of the boom. Yeah, I agree with that, hockey. I do. And like Dr. Beckett said earlier, hockey has a very large group of very committed and loyal collectors that aren't just going to go away because the values of their cards decrease. That's not going to chase away hockey collectors. So we're kind of, I think, and I put myself in that group, we're in it for the long haul a lot of the time. So that's an astute comment, hockey. Peep says 2021 smells bigger to me. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it as well. I can see it for sure. Cardboard King, the Lafreniere buzz is real. He's going to do so much for the hockey card market this year. I hope so. That'd be great. I mean, I'll settle for his SP Authentic Future Watch auto when it comes in, and that'll kind of be how he's represented in my personal collection. And it's probably going to cost more than I've ever had to pay for one before, but that's just the way the hobby goes. Cardboard King, I'm comparing Lafreniere to the Mario. Yes, that talented and that smart. His vision is unbelievable. That's something we got to see. We need to see that on the NHL ice. See if Lafreniere really is all he's cracked up to be, playing in the NHL against grown men versus in junior, where he dominated. But let's see him play in the NHL against mature, experienced NHLers. Jay, I want to go back to a question we had for you, which came in a little while ago from Rich, and I'm scanning, looking through all the comments for it. So did I find it here? Yes, I did. Right here, Jay. He says, how do you order the cards on those shelves? Is it alphabetical as they come in or some other system?
They're sorted by team. So I'll put them in by team, by player, and get as many of the cards with the sets as I can. As I add to it and pick cards up, with how tight the display is, sometimes I got to move 15 or 20 cards around to find a different configuration so that the set or the players patches are together as much as possible. So there's some shuffling that happens with that.
Okay, cool. Right here, Kickdown says, nice scans organized into albums on Flickr is extremely underrated. Free tool for collectors to use and display their collection. Yeah, there used to be PhotoBucket was the popular one up until a few years ago. Flickr is very popular. I just use my Dropbox for pictures, and I can kind of retrieve them on my phone whenever I want, or send someone a link if they need, for whatever. But yeah, Flickr is high. Flickr is very popular. Underrated. I didn't really know it was underrated because I know a lot of people that use it. But thank you, Kickdown, for bringing it to our attention. And anyone who's out there, check out Flickr to share your images of your personal collection or your inventory, your traders even. Cardboard King says Lafreniere is the next Mario. And then Native Card Guy jumps in and says, I believe he will not be the player for a few years that the hype around him has made it out to be. But a few years from now, yeah. See, that's interesting because, you know, Crosby was that player right away. McDavid was that player right away. Austin Matthews, to a degree, was that player right away. But after that, it's very rare for a player to come in at 18 or 19 years old and really dominate or be the best player on his team or change his team from a loser to a contender. I've heard that Lafreniere is going to come in and make a difference right away. And that's very encouraging for people that are buying his young guns and his high gloss and all these cards right now. So we'll have to see what happens and whether Native Card Guy is right or if the people who are investing in his cardboard are right, who may have a more of a shorter term horizon for their holding. But if you're just collecting and you need the card for your set, then it doesn't matter. Eventually he will come into his own, I believe. Charles, will there ever be an old hockey card scented car air freshener? Dude, you're not even old enough to drive. But that's a good question. That'll be fun. That's fun to think about. Thank you, JR. Always a man. JR is a local guy here, Trader Night guy. I miss seeing him at Trader Nights. I miss Trader Nights. Here we go. Jordan has a question for us, Jay. How many hours per day would you say you spend on the hobby in one way or another? I'm embarrassed to say me, Jay. How many hours a day do you spend on the hobby?
2 to 3 hours a day.
Chump change. You're barely in the hobby at 2 to 3 hours a day. I'm just kidding. I'm substantially higher than that. And a lot of it is simply scrolling through Facebook groups, scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through eBay, Twitter. It's like all my social media is hobby. None of it is really like, there's very little personal life social media that I do. And it's just easy to flip through your phone. So I'm more than 2 to 3 hours a day. I'll just leave it at that. Oscar Dad says, as a newbie hockey collector, which piece is the chest patch on the jersey? Well, you see that logo right there? That's the old Jets logo. That would be the chest patch. On this other jersey here, that's the back, but the front has their logo. So he's talking about the main logo of the team's logo on the front of the jersey is what we're talking about when we talk about a chest patch. And when Upper Deck did their mega patches in the premier set, they denoted on the card where that piece came from. Was it a shoulder patch? Was it a chest patch? Was it a name bar? Was it the number on the sleeve, the number on the back? They did a really nice job of letting you know what it was. So that's what that was all about. Adam Passmore is curious as to what type of small business Jay owns. Jay, do you want to talk at all about what you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm in the car business.
There you go. Jay's in the car business. In what capacity, Jay? I mean, are you a manufacturer? Are you a seller? Are you a collector? What do you do in the car business?
I own 2 car dealerships. I own one in Calgary and one in Kelowna.
Okay, so he's a car dealer. Very cool. Very cool. Cardboard King says Lafreniere will have an instant impact this year. I say he scores at least 35 and ends up with around 80 points. Now, keep in mind, we're in a shortened season. This is not an 82-game schedule. I think it's a 56-game schedule. So I'm going to say he won't score 35 and get 80 points in a shortened season, Cardboard King, but I would think that would be extremely reasonable for him or possible for him in a normal season. We'll just see if Jay comes back. Hockey says, I'm not looking to trade, but hopefully nobody tries to rip Jay off when asking for a trade. Yeah, for sure. Hopefully no one does. Joseph P, you're all in on hockey right now. Well, that's wicked. Welcome to hockey, buddy. If you're new, if you're not new, then, welcome to being all in on hockey. I am too, pretty much. So welcome. Legion says, final tally on 2020. Topps released a total of 90 baseball sets between online, hobby, and retail. It's a lot of sets. That's a lot of sets to put out there, but there's something for everybody, hopefully. And I don't follow baseball cards closely whatsoever, modern, like new stuff. But I'm sure if I did, I'd find something among those 90 sets that I would enjoy collecting. You got to think. Facebook user who I'm not sure of, if you want to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and click that big blue button, we'll know who you are. But he says with Martin's latest listings, we've seen numerous records. I think he's talking about Jason Martin from Martin Sports, located in Guelph, Ontario, with a big eBay store, who's been having some amazing cards listed right now. He's always got amazing cards. But it says Sittler 25,000, for instance. Will this be the new standard or a blip? Yeah, I think we're into new standard territory, and I know it's hard for some to comprehend, but I do think we're into some new standard territory where we're seeing the foundation of the hobby being so much stronger than it's ever been, and with that comes higher prices. And I think that, while we will see a leveling off, we will see peaks and valleys in the hobby, as the history of the hobby has always provided us. I just don't know. I think that the floor is a lot higher than it's ever been. I definitely think that. LG, I'll put in a good word for Weebly for organizing your card. Another online service, Weebly, for organizing your card collection to share with your friends, family, and fellow hobbyists. Jordan says, if Crosby and Ovechkin retired today, where would they rank amongst all-time greats? Jay, I want your opinion. I'm going to go first, though, and I'm going to say it goes like this: Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby. And right beside Sidney Crosby, in my mind, is Alexander Ovechkin, like right there with him. They're different players, different careers. They've had different accolades, all that, different personalities. But to me, I see Crosby and Ovechkin being tied forever, hobby-wise, because they came into the league together. And they're both among the greatest of all time, in my opinion. In my opinion, they're, they follow that line. And then McDavid comes next. And then there's no one else, really. To me, there's no one else that fits in there. There are a bunch of guys who are close, like Maurice Richard, like Bobby Hull, Guy Lafleur, Steve Yzerman, Connor McDavid. There are other amazing players along the way. But to me, Crosby and Ovechkin fall in line of Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Crosby, Ovechkin. That's my take. I respect them that much. Jay, anything different? Any take on that?
I think you're bang on. Wherever, I don't know if I have Mario Lemieux as high as you do. I think without the injuries, had he held up a little bit better, I think I'd put him in there. But I do agree, wherever they fit in there, they're together. I have Crosby ahead of Ovechkin, but Ovechkin right behind him.
Yeah, same here. Hockey says Lafreniere is a winger, and even if he was a center, no chance he could be the next Mario, and that is no disrespect to Lafreniere. I mean, I have no problem with that comment, except for the words "no chance." I got to say there's a chance. They got to think there's a chance. I mean, players develop at different rates at different points of their lives. There could be a chance, but maybe it's unlikely. Native Card Guy, 6 to 8 hours a day. I'm at it now with no work till spring. Yeah, if you got time on your hands, hobby's a great way to spend your time. So good on you for putting it into something that's at least something that's fun and keeps you out of trouble. That's what I've always said. My parents, keeps you out of trouble. Hockey, how do you guys balance continuing to educate yourselves professionally and spending time on the hobby? You have to. In my line of work, I work in a professional sort of capacity as a CPA / chartered accountant / finance guy, and I'm required by my professional organization to do my professional credit hours I need every year. I need to do that and report back that I've done it. So you just have to. And a lot of times when you're in a job like I have, if you're like a lawyer, accountant, any sort of professional line of work, I guess you could say, you have to keep up. So you just find the time. And if you work a 40-hour type of work week sort of thing, you're just by working, you are somewhat keeping yourself up to speed. At least in my line of work, I do. Jay, how about you? How do you balance, kind of keeping on top of your business and the hobby itself? Is it just priorities?
I think the hobby I do on my own time. I have certain times of the day where I devote to the hobby and getting onto social media and seeing what's going on and catching up on some content that I may not have been able to catch live. So I got very specific times where that are devoted to the hobby. As it comes to work, in my line of business, the education for, where I'm at in my career right now is just trying to figure out, what is the market doing, and what can I do for my employees to make sure that they've got the tools that they need to make the best of what's going on. So, not unlike a lot of small businesses right now, it's just trying to figure out, what the market is looking like, and how my business fits into it, and just getting my staff the opportunities, tools, support that they need to make the best of what's going on.
Yeah. Priorities, basically. So, yeah, good stuff, man. Swerve and Irvin says Tavares also had a great first year in the NHL. If Toronto had some defense, we'd be hearing more about him than we do. Yeah, he sure did. And, he was poised to be one of the, a great player. And he's not a poor player. He just was kind of hidden away on the New York Islanders for a while, who aren't, not, I mean, they've had success, but they're not a team that gets a ton of hobby love. But now he's in Toronto, and you got to think, though, if he was that great, he would be scoring enough goals, setting up enough goals that they would win enough games, that they could win enough games 6-4, and like have the goal scoring make up for the lack of defense. They have a great goalie, but yeah, their defense has been suspect, and it just got. I mean, as a Flames fan, I can tell you, it just got more suspect with the addition of TJ Brody, who is the guy that gave me heart palpitations for many years. He would have a great game, and then he would just be horrible for many more games after that. That was my take on TJ Brody. So you guys can have him in Toronto. I'm glad he's not on our team anymore. He's your problem now. Native Card Guy has a bet for $50 that Lafreniere has 15 points or less. I will take the other side of that bet as well. I would bet he has 15 points or more. Lee Haskins says, do you think that new young hobby people will disregard vintage cards? And will that mean vintage cards will lose value over time? This is a really important question. I think the answer is yes. I think new hobby people will disregard it because a lot of them want to collect players that they're watching. We're seeing it with basketball right now. We're seeing what's happening there. But what then happens is people get the cards they want, and then they start looking back in time, and they realize there's value in vintage. So I don't think the vintage overall will lose value over time, but I think some will. But the best players, the top tier Hall of Famers, I don't think will ever lose value, ever. Like, I think they'll remain relevant 200 years from now. But we'll forget about all the other guys because no one that is alive will have seen them play or maybe care. But then I've seen other side of the argument where, there's all this footage on YouTube. You can go research any player you want and see them play. So is that going to drive people to collecting older players? I don't know. Jay, do you have a take on this?
I think as far as vintage goes, I think the cards that have the value now are going to continue to, increase in value. The lesser name, lesser valued vintage stuff, I think just with time is, even right now, we're in a time where people don't really want that stuff. That, I think, is going to lose some value. But, I think the stuff that's really popular now and the stuff that's gaining in value and is sought after, I think is always going to be that.
Yeah. Kickdown mentions like Magic Bird. I mean, those guys, I see them being relevant for a very, very long time. Native Card Guy says, again, with all the new collectors coming into the hobby, I'm getting questions every day on which break groups they should get in, and we need a list. Yeah, I can't speak to break groups. Break groups is just, to me, I don't hobby that way, so I can't even speak about who to break with. I would just say go with someone reputable. Ask your friends, like it seems like people are doing, and have fun with it. If that's how you hobby. And I'm thankful for breakers because they release all the cards into the wild. The guys like me and Jay, that we pursue. So it's great. But I don't know much about a list for that. But interesting stuff. Hockey says, I like this comment. Newsy Lalonde is the head of Sidney Crosby for me. Okay, just so everybody who might not know, Newsy Lalonde played. I mean, his rookie card is 1910. He probably didn't play in the 20s. I don't think he made it to the 1920s. So, I mean, it's an interesting comment. You could make an argument for George Vezina, Howie Morenz, Eddie Shore. I mean, there's lots of pre-war guys. A lot of the pioneers of the sport were excellent, but let's face it, the game isn't even the same game anymore. Like there's a red line now. There was no red line back in the day. There's all sorts of different things. Goalies weren't wearing masks. You can't even compare eras. But that's why I go back to Gordie Howe. When I go back and I talk about that trajectory of players, I start at Gordie Howe, who played in the late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and I believe the 80s as well. The guy played in like 5 or 6 different decades. Swerve Nervin says, you're forgetting Mike Bossy among the greats. Well, I'm not. He would be that next tier of player that I mentioned. But underrated, I believe, in the hobby, and a great rookie card from 1978. And, you know, one of the greatest a lot of people would call him the best goal scorer of all time. I give that to Alex Ovechkin, but I mean, I won't argue against Mike Bossy. I'll just kind of say, well, to me, it's Ovechkin, but you definitely get there. Jagger has to be on that list. Yeah, Jagger is one of those guys that, I mean, Jagger almost like, he's like a cultural phenomenon, this guy. I love Jagger. He's almost on that list. Yeah, he's almost on that list. The Rocket is ahead of those two. So Terry, you know, says it with those two. I think I don't know if you're talking about Crosby and Ovechkin. Maybe you are. You say he is ahead of those two. You know, I can't necessarily get behind an objective statement on a subjective discussion, but I see, you know, the argument. I love Rocket Richard. To me, he's right up there as well. Jagger's one of my favorites as well. His rookie card values will always be saddled by huge production numbers. Yeah, they will be compared to cards that have come before and cards that have come after, but his cards have done a lot lately. Like his O-Pee-Chee Premier PSA 10 went from being $80 to $100 to $200 to now like $500-$600 recently. So yeah. Is Laffy a good number 1 pick for my fantasy draft tomorrow? I would not pick him first overall. Not a chance. McKinnon, number 1. McKinnon is my pick if I have number 1 in our Sports Cards Live hockey pool. Jordan says, what are some of your favorite sports card YouTube channels besides this one, of course? Jordan, good question. So on my YouTube channel, I actually have a section on the page that is like, I think it's called some of my favorite channels. I'm looking at it right now. The Personal Finance Dad, my buddy Dustin, just hit over 6,000 subscribers. Congratulations to him. I like Dustin's channel. I really like the House of Jordans, although they're kind of not doing much there anymore. Hobby Hotline. Carlos's channel, because I'm Carlos. 90s B-ball cards. Vegas Fine 777. Baseball card collector, investor, dealer is excellent. Victor's channel, All Time Greats blog is one I like. Cardboard Chronicles is another one I like. Filmington is another one that I like. You can see them on my page. Those are some of my favorites, and there's a couple more that I just don't have denoted there, but that I do enjoy watching, although they're not coming to mind right now at the time, unfortunately. But yeah, there's several out there, Jordan. So scroll to the bottom of my page, and you'll see the ones that I specifically reference. Oscar Dad, is there anything either Crosby or Ovi that could do to move up even higher on a GOAT list? I mean, just more Stanley Cups, more. Well, Ovechkin, it's clearly if he can reach Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record, which he needs like 150 more goals or something like that. If he can do that, then he's GOAT status right up there. Like, I don't know that he's up there with Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr, and Wayne Gretzky, but he's definitely up there on that next tier, in my opinion. Cardboard King says, Jeremy, do you think that Connor McDavid Young Guns is undervalued? And is it a good buy right now? I believe he will become what Gretzky meant to the American market really soon. Well, if you believe that, which I'm not saying you shouldn't, like that card has made moves lately that I don't even know what it's doing right now. Like, what is it? And to me, the gauge is a PSA 10. So what is the McDavid rookie selling for in a PSA 10 right now? I just saw Crosby PSA 10s today are now selling for like 5,500 Canadian, like $4,000 US plus, which shocked me. So I don't even know what McDavid is at right now, but if it's, I don't know, man, there's so many out there compared to the Crosby Young Gun and the Ovechkin Young Gun that I don't want to answer that question. I just don't know. I know I have one and I'm not selling it. I'm keeping it. So if that tells you anything. Jay, do you collect these things? Can you speak to it? Have an opinion on that at all?
I have one for my set. I had 3 of them after opening up my own product. I didn't have any of them graded. I sold the 2 raw ones, last year at some point, a year and a half ago. I moved them to somebody that needed them, which is great. And whether or not they still have them, I don't know. I would not say that it's undervalued. That's not the word that I would use. I think if you found a raw McDavid Young Gun right now that was in good shape, and you could buy it, and get it for a decent value. What is that? A raw Young Gun now? He's probably $800-900. I'm guessing something like that. I don't think you'd lose money on it. I don't think you wouldn't get rich. But I don't see his rookie stuff dropping in value.
Couple things come to mind from that, Jay. Thanks for triggering them in my mind. The first one is that McDavid hasn't won any Stanley Cups, and he's not close to it either. Like the Oilers still kind of suck. They're a 2-player team really between McDavid and Draisaitl. Okay, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a good second liner too, but they're not a good team, and they're not cup worthy yet. So he'll need to win a cup or more in order to get to the status of the GOAT. Sidney Crosby has Stanley Cups. He's got the golden goal, which is maybe, my favorite highlight of his ever. So the other thing, Native Card Guy makes a great point here. He says, McDavid Young Gun will never hit the same level value as Gretzky because we have learned our lesson to keep our cards safe. I mean, that's a somewhat relevant and interesting comment because there's very few Young Gun McDavids that are the grade less than, say, a PSA 9. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind as well when we're comparing cards from different eras too, for sure. I like Charles says, Lee Haskins, don't worry, I'll keep vintage hockey alive, which Charles, we're he's doing his part to keep, and he's 14 years old and he's very interested in vintage hockey. So that's really cool. Every card becomes vintage over time. It's cyclical, says Lost Card Dad. Yeah, it's something else to remember. That I think that in the antiques world, anything over 100 years is 100 years old is an antique, I believe, is sort of the definition. In sports cards, it's different. We almost just kind of label an era now as vintage, like anything up until say 1989, and then it's whatever after that. But we've had discussions on the channel about this before, and on other channels as well, especially Carlos's channel, about this exact topic. Really interesting stuff. One of my favorite discussions to have, actually. So we won't get into it again tonight, but yeah, you got to kind of keep it is somewhat of a moving target. I would agree with that. Jay, what is your greatest achievement as a set or a rainbow goes?
Oh, that's a good question too. As far as rainbows go, I think being able to finish, the Monahan, Kachuk, Goudreau, Young Gun rainbows was a pretty big achievement. Specifically the Monahan set had an exclusives 1-of-1 buyback that hit the market, a little while ago, and that was a little bit tougher to track down. And a good friend of mine locally ended up with the card, and we were able to work a deal on it to get that. So those are, I think are, as far as rainbows goes, are always tough to finish. And sets, sets are really tough to finish now. Even just base sets are really difficult to finish. But any mega patch that you manage to get all the pieces to are huge achievements. Just based on the fact that every mega patch is a 1-of-1. So when you're looking at getting a single 1-of-1 and the manufacturer releases the checklist, and you go through it and you be like, oh, there's a 1-of-1 for my favorite player, I want to try and get that card. A lot of us will know how challenging that is. When you're talking about mega patches, if it's a 6-card set, they're all 1-of-1s. So you got to track down 6 1-of-1s to complete a 6-card set. So anytime I've been able to finish, a mega patch set is always a fairly big achievement for sure.
No doubt. No doubt. Very cool. Cardboard King says, I've recently got back into the hobby after being gone for 20 years. I started back up with modern, and now I'm moving into vintage for the nostalgia factor. And that's exactly what I was kind of mentioning before. So kind of nice to see someone kind of corroborate that approach. And that's really the same thing with me. I started collecting the 80s, collecting, the players of the day. And as I got older, I started going back in time. And, there's a bit, I think a lot of us as collectors, there's a group of us, or some of you can be a collector, but you can also be a bit of a historian. Bobby Burrell is kind of the historian, of a well-known historian for vintage hockey. And we are historians to a degree if you're going back in time, but not everybody has that in them. So, but if you do, kudos to you. And I know Charles is definitely like that. So good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Cardboard King, the vintage card market will always be strong because of the scarcity and low pop counts. Yeah, people like scarce things. That's for sure. That's for sure. Big Unit says worst internet connection is Dustin, personal finance. Yeah, Dustin always opens up his live feeds by saying, "Hey guys, we are 100% going to have technical difficulties tonight." So at least he's managing expectations well. Hockey. There were years, in my opinion, that Malkin played better than Crosby. Crosby better in his 30s than Malkin is. Fair comments. Lee Haskins, how many years do you think Ovechkin has left to get the goal score, the total goals record? Do you think it's better than 50%? He can break the record. I don't think he's going to do it. I never, since the hype started, I've never thought he would get there. Now the shortened season, 2 shortened seasons, it's even more challenging for him to get there, in my opinion. Jay, do you think Ovechkin can get there?
I don't think he gets there. I just did, he needs 160 goals, 140. It's a fairly significant number. He's going to take him. He needs, what does he need to be fair? At least 4 full seasons, more likely 5. At his age, what's happening with that team? I mean, they're talented now, but he's not getting, he's not getting any younger. His supporting cast isn't getting any younger. Yeah. I think he's gotten significantly closer than anybody thought he was even going to get. So to do what he's done is amazing.
Definitely.
To ask, to try and figure out if he's going to get there. I mean, he's so close to a number that nobody ever thought anyone would ever get close to. So it's just an amazing achievement already. I think he gets, I think he gets close, but I just don't know that the team and him have the legs for him to get there.
Yeah, I'm very skeptical as well. Cardboard King says McDavid will be more than Crosby one day for sure. Bye. That's so that comment just is exactly what I don't like in the hobby. Maybe you're kidding, Cardboard King, but that's just like, that's so atypical for my content. First of all, you don't know that he will be more than Crosby one day for sure. Lots of assumptions in there, and then the bye is not really our style here. But hey, if you are putting your money where your mouth is, then good for you. And I do wish you success with those outlays. And the thing is that McDavid, number one, the print runs are a lot higher for the young guns anyway. When it comes to SP Authentic Future Watch autos, and when it comes to the Cup, they're on equal footing there. 99 copies, 999 copies. So, but when it comes to young gun, McDavid might be more than Crosby one day, because when Crosby retires and McDavid's still playing, there will be more eyes on McDavid. So that could happen. But in the very long run, McDavid is 3 Stanley Cups, golden goal, and away from reaching Crosby levels. And his cards the young gun is just much more plentiful as well. Richard says McDavid 9.5s went up $500 in a month. I'm surprised that's it. Should have gone up more based on what everything else has been doing in the last month. Cardboard King says, Jeremy, he's only 24 and he's only getting better. Yeah, I agree with that. But that doesn't mean that he's going to win Stanley Cups, or he'll win scoring championships. That's great. But to be remembered, Marcel Dion, nobody collects Marcel Dion. Dale Hawerchuk, a guy I collect heavily, 1,000-point man, but no cups. There's guys that Gilbert Perreault, there's that's where McDavid may end up being one of those guys who just never wins a cup but had a great career.
Yeah.
and that's going to hurt that's going to hurt his values down the road, like way down the road, like post-retirement type of thing.
Mhm.
Hockey says, Jay, you sound like you are a set collector, which isn't common nowadays. Any thoughts on storing them in a climate-controlled room?
Yeah, I have. You're right. There's not that many set collectors left these days. Climate-controlled room. I use my root card rooms in the basement, obviously, by design to not have the natural light. I use. I'm fairly aware of the air and the environment down here. Like I use dehumidifiers outside of the room, are running all the time to pull any dampness out of the air. I don't know that I'm prepared to do a climate controlled room yet. I'm not saying it's never going to get there, but I think as far as the room goes, I think I've done everything that I can do to keep the collection safe.
There you go. Good stuff. PLJ says the Pens won cups in 16 and 17, being a 2 to 3 player teams. I wouldn't sleep on Edmonton. So 2 to 3 players: Crosby, Malkin, Marc-Andre Fleury, Chris Letang. So 4 players I got there, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple guys that were, kind of better than Edmonton's 3rd or 4th best player. But yeah, I'm not saying sleep on Edmonton. I'm saying, and plus keep in mind, I'm also a Flames fan. They're our biggest rival. So it kind of brings me a little bit of joy to think that they don't ever win a Stanley Cup. But I think that when it comes to the Oilers, yeah, they need, the Oilers have had how many first overall picks in the last 10 years, and they still can't get it together. I don't know. I think moving forward, though, they will improve. They have good management now. They had horrible management for so long. So, yeah, don't sleep on the Oilers, but, just be prepared that he may not ever win a Stanley Cup. Simple as that. Jordan says, I haven't heard Patrick Kane's name mentioned much in the hobby. Is he underappreciated? I think he is underappreciated. He's one of the best American-born goal scorers, players of all time, overall players. I think he's a guy that is underappreciated in the hobby. I really do. Yeah, definitely. And that probably won't last very long, though. Daniel says, as a black player, if Byfield can be a star in the LA market, that can open up a huge untapped fan base. Yeah, that's a cool point, and I agree with that. It would be nice to appeal to the black community more than hockey does right now. And maybe Quentin Byfield is one of the ways into that in the LA market.
Yep.
MCAM, good evening, says, I find myself chasing cards I loved in the 80s and 90s that aren't that expensive while also making some investment and buys in the recent Prism and Select sets basketball. Yeah, a lot of people are doing that. And, when it comes to the recent Prism and Select sets in basketball, that's where, that's like 80% of the hobby is right there right now, it seems like. So you're not alone. And that gives me comfort, but it also scares me too. So, just sort of be cautious. Just be cautious. Cardboard King, I agree. Ovi won't do it. Yeah. Rob Demare. Hi, Jordan. Nope. He's appreciating well. Don't know what that's in reference to. Sorry. Hat Trick Heroes. Jeremy and Jay, hope all is well. Can't wait to see this all-Canadian division rivalry between Winnipeg and Calgary. A few triple game matchups. Yeah, I can't wait for that either. I've been a Jets fan my whole life, but I'm a Flames fan now. And after the rivalry, I'm now no longer a Jets fan. If the Flames are out, I'll probably hope for them in a Stanley Cup final. But definitely hoping for the Flames against the Jets and every other Canadian team this season. Scott Fiskus, what are some underrated hockey sets to look at other than regular Upper Deck and SB Authentic? Is there an up-and-coming product? Well, yes, there is, my friend. Yes, there is. We've got Skybox Metal Universe coming out in April. But there are other sets. There's Synergy, there's Allure, there's Ingrained, there's Artifacts, there's SP Game Used, and on that I'm just not thinking of. So there are plenty. Ask questions like you're doing. Get out there. But to me, it's as far as rookie cards go, there's Upper Deck Ice as well. There's Black Diamond, but as far as rookie cards go, and there's great rookie cards in all the sets, for me, it's either Cup, SP Authentic, or the Young Guns, because I believe those 3 have the brand equity that will last the longest into the future. That's what I think. Jay, do you have any take on that?
No, I think you're bang on. I think if you want to if you want to check as many boxes as you can, as far as fun to collect, that Upper Deck Series 1 and Series 2 are going to give you that. If you also want the value at the same time, and I think everybody kind of does, the Young Guns are going to give you that. SP Authentic gives you the Future Watch Auto. They're the gold standard. And, of course, price is a factor for everybody. And yeah, the prices go up and we're seeing that happen. But, the Series 1, getting the Young Gun and buying some boxes of SP Authentic they're still relatively affordable, and you can get some great cards that, are, considered the gold standard of rookie cards. Like if you have to choose one, you'd probably want the Future Watch.
Yeah, same here. That is my go-to. My number one rookie card every year ahead of anything else is the Future Watch Auto in a PSA 10. That to me is my favorite card. That's the one I want. I don't collect Cup for myself anymore. I did when it first came out. I stopped. And Young Guns, they're fine, but to me they're just so common. I love the SP Authentic Future Watch Autograph rookie. To me it's the perfect balance of rookie card. Hard signed auto as well. Rob Demare says Crosby has 3 cups. Yes, he does. Oscar Cardano wants to know, Jay, do you do much selling? And if so, is it purely to fund other cards?
I do. I try to trade as much as I can. So if I'm moving something, normally the reason for that is either it's a double, duplicate. That's those ones, much like we've all done, from the time we were kids until now, trading our doubles for something that we needed. And if there was any change in my PC, so something I decided that I didn't want to collect anymore, or was just moving on from, through the years, your PC changes and you'd want to go in a different direction. I try as much as possible to trade. And the reason I do that is I find that, the time and effort that I put into collecting my stuff, if I can find a home for that, for somebody else to enjoy it, so that, it doesn't ultimately get broken up and scattered to the wind, is always what I try and do first. So I'm constantly trying to find somebody that's got some stuff that I would like. And if I'm moving on from something, if they've got any interest in what I have, and if I do sell, which of course I do, I try as much as possible to limit that to a couple of people, fairly close to me in the hobby that are a little bit more dialed in with the single card sales. When I do decide to sell some stuff, it's usually fairly substantial, and I just don't have the time to list card by card and sell them off and get them mailed out and sent out and stuff. So that's sort of my philosophy when something leaves my collection.
Yeah. Yeah, fair approach, man, for sure. Native Card Guy wants to see Matthew Tkachuk sent through the glass his first game with Winnipeg. Yeah, I'm sure everybody in the NHL besides us Flames fans, Jay, want to see Matthew Tkachuk sent through the glass, and we accept that, but we love him here. And you'd love him if he was on your team too, trust me. Mm-hmm. Lee Haskins says, thanks for answering so many of the questions. Love these interactive videos. Thank you very much, Lee. I love doing them as well, so thank you for being a part of it. What's up, my brother? This has to be the man who is on my shirt, the mayor of Canada, Rich Barone from Long Island, big Islanders fan. That I know that's him. So, Rich, if you're still there, welcome to the show. That's 10 minutes ago. Hatrick Hero says Crosby is decorated more than McDavid currently. McDavid, so I don't know if it will reach that, but follow in his footsteps for sure. I mean, that's the plan, right? The plan that we all have for Connor McDavid is to be the next Crosby, despite their overlap in when they play. So yeah, for sure. Rob Demare says perfect examples. Sometimes I don't know what the comments are for because we're behind by 11 minutes right now, but thank you for the comment. MChem, which is Mikey, says everything is up. Buy what you love because a correction is coming. Well, yeah, I mean, that's something that's a take. But a lot of people think that correction is several years down the road still. So Richard says, if McDavid ever wants to win a cup, I don't believe he'll do it in Edmonton. Might have to leave. Yeah, probably. But you never know. Edmonton's won cups before, so anything can happen. What about Iginla, the best player in the league for a long time? Yeah, no one. You're gonna get very few people are gonna agree with that, Jesse. That he's the best player, was the best player in the league for a long time. He's kind of. I mean, God love him. I mean, I know he was a great player here in Calgary. He's a blue chip guy, says Rob. Yep, but I don't know that he's gonna be that. He's not. He's definitely not that highest elite level with the Gretzky's, Hows, and Orrs. I don't think he's at the level below that, but he might be at that level with like the Yzermans and the Joe Sakic's and maybe the Jagers even. But I don't see him any higher than those guys. Hattrick says Jay has the cell salt. Oh yeah, those salt bags kicking around for moisture. I use those myself actually. Kessel, Trottier. I mean, good players, but again, we're talking about, I see that. We're talking about who played for Pittsburgh when they won cups besides Crosby and Malkin. Right. Thank you, guys. Kessel, Brian Trottier, Gensel, Orpik, shut down to, Orpik I wouldn't be bragging about, but I mean, still, a role player, you need these guys. Chris Kunitz, thank you, Terry. Kessel could have won the Conn Smythe one of those years for Pittsburgh. Yeah, Kessel's a guy who's sort of underrated in the hobby. He doesn't look like a hockey player is a big part of it, I think. What are your thoughts on the Brett Hull Moncton Flames AHL cards? I asked since you guys are Flames fans. They're irrelevant to me in the hobby. They're meaningless to me in the hobby. I have no interest in them personally, but I have interest in his rookie card from 88-89 Peachy. Just because you asked. Do you have any take on that, Jay?
No, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. There we go. That's my boy, the mayor of Canada. Again, that's this guy, mayor of Canada, Rich Barone. Thank you, Rich. Good, and a huge Islanders fan. McDavid wins his cups with the Leafs. I know the Leafs fans would love that for sure. PLJ says Fleury didn't win those cups. Letang was out for one of those two. My point is you can't count any team out. Love the discussion. Yeah, it's a fair point. You can't count out any team. The Florida Panthers, made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. You can't. And the Carolina Hurricanes won a cup one year. You can't count out anything can happen in hockey, but that doesn't make me think that the Oilers are any closer to winning a cup. Kane is underappreciated for sure, more decorated than Austin Matthews, but Austin Matthews plays in Toronto. Yeah, all fair. And also Austin Matthews is more relevant right now. He's more current, right? Kane's rookie year was 07-08, Matthews 16-17. So, it's kind of like who's in his prime right now. Although it doesn't seem like Patrick Kane has ever been out of his prime. He's that good. I got to get myself a Future Watch auto rookie of Patrick Kane because I don't have one. Hold on, guys. I got to go to eBay. Got to go buy one right now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that, but I do want one. Cardad, is all of Jay's collection on the shelves behind him, or like a lot of other collectors, do you have cards in boxes, binders? He did show the binders behind him the other angle, but Jay, is there anything that's not on display?
Yeah, there's a lot. So the collection itself, I don't know what the count is on binders. Hundreds of binders for sure. What I have displayed in the room is what I've been able to get through and catalog cards that I'm missing. I save it all. I have a digital copy and file of every set that I've cataloged that I've managed to go through, and the cards that I'm missing, so I can just reference it to pick up cards as I go to finish them. My collection is millions of cards. My half of my basement in my house is full of shoe boxes and pizza boxes full of cards that I still have to get through and sort through and catalog properly. And then inside my room, the parts that you can't see, there's a fairly long bench that I work and sort on top of that has drawers full of cards and one touches and top loaders and some of the base sets that I'm working on that I haven't finished yet. So it's there's lots and lots and lots that you can't see in the displays.
All right, so there you go, us Card Dad. Yeah, it's always fun hearing about how we store our cards and approach the hobby. And I can confirm there is no PSA 10 Patrick Kane SP Authentic rookie cards on eBay right now. I just searched. There's been 2 recent sales of raw copies that sold for about $350, $325 US. That's what it looks like for anyone who's wondering. that's the card that I just went looking for on eBay. So yeah, I got to find one of those, but I'm sure it's gonna be a lot more expensive now than before. Jordan says, Jeremy and Jay, what are your thoughts on the Seattle Kraken? Is Seattle the right choice for expansion? Yeah, I'm all for it. All for it. I don't know that they're the right choice, but you know what? Much smarter people than me made those decisions. So I'm going to say that they probably did make the right choice, because Bettman's no idiot, even though a lot of people think he is. But in the board of governors, I don't think these guys are messing around. I hope it's the right choice. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for another team. Jay, any take on it?
I'm excited for another team too. No, I don't believe that it was the right choice for hockey. I think it was the right business choice. I think the group in Seattle was better prepared to make the run with the league and how they presented it and how it worked out. I think Quebec was, for the game, probably the better choice. But I don't, facility-wise and from a business standpoint, made a lot less sense. So I don't think the league wanted to take a chance of, making an expansion team that was going to disappear in 2 or 3 years or 4 or 5 years. So from a business standpoint, I think Seattle made more sense, but I think Quebec would have been a better market for an expansion team.
Yeah, I hear you. That makes sense to me. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, just the reality is that it is a business, and they need to definitely consider that. And there's already issues like the Montreal Canadiens. They need a French-speaking coach, and they want the fans want French-speaking players. If they can't speak to the media in French, they get on the the poop list with the fans. It would just be another one of those situations again in Quebec where the fan, it would be even stronger desire for them to fit into that. And then it's hard to be competitive when you can only draft French-speaking players, because there's a lot of non-French-speaking players in the NHL. But anyway, interesting stuff. Adam Bailey, Patrick Kane, a bad apple. Hobby doesn't like bad apples unless you come back hero Tiger Woods. Yeah, I mean, he punched a guy in a taxi in Buffalo 8 years ago or something like that. I don't see him as a bad apple anymore myself. I think he's a great hockey player. But fair comment nonetheless, of course. Terry says Kane and Taves are both still good buys. Native Card Guy says a lot of people are sleeping on Jack Eichel right now. His RPAs and rookies are way low, and it's not going to last long. I know the update thing, but that's not going to matter later on. I agree. That update thing won't matter later on either. Hockey, do you like the 74-75 Don Cherry Peach as part of a collection? Where do you see his place in hockey history in 30 years? That's a good question. I used to have his rookie card. I don't think I have it anymore. To me, he wasn't really a player. It's a coach card, by the way. It's a cool looking card. He's a legend in Canada, for better or for worse, he's a legend in Canada. And I think there's value there. But because he wasn't a player, maybe or not a consequential player when he did play, to me, I didn't need him. But Terry goes on to say he's a must have. And that just depends on how you're collecting. So yeah, I mean, if you want him, you want him. Yeah. Rob says in high grade, he's a blue chip. Native Card Guy says must have. So, for me, he's not. I was willing to sell my card of his, and I don't desire one right now, but that could change. Native Card Guy says, you're not a Jets fan. Now I'm sad. I'm a Flames fan now. I'm a Flames fan. Declared. Okay, here we go. Cardboard King says, or how Richard, Gretzky, Lemieux, Crosby, all Canadian icons, and they transcended the game, just like Jagger does to me. I couldn't think of the word transcended earlier. McDavid is probably better than all of them. He will eventually win Stanley Cups. Okay. Rob says, as well as Scotty Bowman coach card. Yeah, that's another cool coach. That one is more important to me than Don Cherry, because Scotty Bowman is a legendary, if not one of the all-time best coaches. So to me, that's a more important card than Don Cherry. Don Cherry's card is important because he was on Hockey Night in Canada and Coach's Corner for so long. Very controversial. Someone that all Canadians are aware of. He's kind of like a Canadian. I don't know if hero is the right word, but he's an icon for sure. Jason Pringle, welcome. Better late than never. Exactly. Big Daddy, you made a good point about the long-term collectability with the Marcel Dion reference. Another guy that gets no love, Mike Gartner, one of 8 guys with 700 goals. You can get his rookie for $15. Yeah. He also had like 13 years of 30-goal season, of consecutive 30-goal seasons. That's a record. I believe that's still a record. So yeah, he gets no love. He played in Washington, which up until Ovechkin was kind of not a very hobby-friendly city or team. So Rob Demare says McDavid doesn't see the ice like Bobby Orr, Gretzky, and Mario. Yeah, I mean, fair comments all around. What about O-Pee-Chee Platinum? I know I do like O-Pee-Chee Platinum, Biggie, but I don't like it for the rookie cards. I like it for the parallels of the main players. I love it for the Crosbys, Ovechkins, McDavids, Matthews, those guys. Not necessarily where I pick my rookie cards from. Jay, any comments?
O-Pee-Chee is one of the sets I don't build. I pick out very specific cards from release, and those are the ones that I'll chase. So the Golden Treasures is of course, just like everybody else, the ones I'm trying to get, but not a set that I build.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, Jay. We had a conversation about you selling me a Golden Treasures a while back, and I never followed up with you, so I'll have to send you a message later.
Yeah, no worries. I still have them.
So Rich must have gone. He came back and he says, did we ever revisit the dust problem? So no, let's ask you, Jay. This was a question for you when you were having technical difficulties. What do you do about dusting off all these cards that you have on display?
I don't actually, to be honest, I don't know that I've ever really had to do it. So the countertops that I put into my card room to sort on and tables that I work off, like I said, they're white countertops that I got from IKEA. And if it was dusty in here, it would be noticeable on those countertops. And I don't have a dust problem in here at all. So I think I do, like what everybody does to protect their cards. They all go into a protective sleeve that's sealed up to keep the dust out from getting into even the one touch. You don't want you don't want the grit and the dust getting in there. They're all covered. The displays change. Every couple of years I'll make some fairly drastic changes to what's going on. So I'll touch the cards and get them down and wipe them off and get them back up. But it's not a regular maintenance thing at all.
Okay, there you go. Richie loves the shirt I'm wearing. Of course, it's his face on it. Hockey. When the PS3 was released, an individual waited in line to buy it. Once outside, would smash the newly bought system. Would it make you angry if someone did similar to a great pull on video? Yeah, because there's people that want that great pull and now they can't have it. So I'd rather see it go to the collector that really, really, really wants it for their collection versus somebody destroying it for content. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take it personally, but I'd be like, that was just a jerk thing to do. When it comes to a PS3, there's more PS3s being manufactured. There's nothing special about one PS3 versus another, so they're not limited. So I can see that for content, but a card, especially a card that people desire that might be limited, yeah, that would be kind of just flipping the bird at the hobby kind of thing. Scott Fiska says, what's the lure of the metal set? So we're talking about the Skybox Metal Universe that's coming out shortly. You think your red will be modeled after a 1990s release? Yes, it's basically modeled after the Metal Universe sets from the late 90s. And what's special about it, or the lure of it, is that they're beautiful. They're just beautiful, unique cards. Just go look some up on eBay, especially, or ComC. Look at the basketball cards from the 97 Fleer Metal Universe set. And that'll give you an idea of what we're looking at in terms of how cool these cards are. Again, my opinion, I'm biased. I love the set. David G. Gartner was special to watch. He was on his way to a cup when the Rangers dumped him 3 months before reaching the promised land. Oh, 94. Didn't remember that, but good. Thanks for shaking up our memories on that one. Cardboard King, look at Luca Prisms. Those are common cards with high pop counts, but the demand is still there. What happens when McDavid breaks into the American mainstream? Fair point. Maybe, there you go. Maybe his cards beat out Crosby's in terms of value. But that would not be based on skillful or savvy purchases. That would be built on hype, I believe. So, but it could easily happen. Hype is a very strong force in our hobby. Native Card Guy says the correction will not come for years from now when the new collectors have lost interest and pull the cards from under the bed out of storage and start selling them off. Maybe, maybe not. Again, I don't want to. I'll let you guys predict the future all you want, but I got a feel for what's going to happen. But like I said, I've been wrong before, so I'm not going to say what'll happen here or there. Says he's in the Mike Modano category, a very respectable category to be in. Rich says the Leafs will never win the cup again because he has a hate on for Tavares. Rob Demare says the card has had every opportunity. McDavid is no Crosby and no Ovechkin. I would say he's not even a Kane, a Patrick Kane. I mean, people argue with you. He is known as the best player in the NHL right now based on skill alone, and he's fast and he can like handle that puck at higher speeds than almost anybody. So time will tell. Time will tell. Peter, Patrick Kane, SB Authentic Auto rookie will be harder in a PSA 10 that year. Was brutal for chipping top and bottom. Yeah, that is fact right there. That is fact right there. I'm just reading what some of these guys are saying to each other. Jay, horrible take, horrible take. Oh, Charles wants to know, Jay, is your Or rookie, which is your favorite card, is it graded? And if so, what did it grade?
It is not graded. It's in good shape. I would say it's probably a 3. That would be my guess if I sent it in to get it graded. It's not a card that I ever thought to get graded. It's not really a value thing. It's just the card means so much to me based on the sentimental value of the card, and if one day I do get it graded, it's for the protection. If I decide to get a vintage order together and send it in, it'll be just to protect the card, not for looking for an increase in value.
Even a 3 is a very respectful grade for that card. I mean, the fact is that you love it. Who cares what a grade? Never grade it, Jay. Like, you don't need to grade it. It's beautiful as it is. Maybe you grade it when the time has come and you're passing it on to your kin or something like that. But anyway, I'm sure you love it, as you should. Rob says Luka Prism isn't and can't be compared to Young Guns. You're comparing an expensive apple to a cheap orange. They kind of are the same thing, though, in that I recognize they're different, Rob, but they are the common rookie. They're the commodity card. It's the commodity card for being Prism for basketball and Young Gun for hockey. So I do see why the comparison's made, but it is still tough to compare because the basketball market is just so much stronger than the hockey market, at least right now. Okay, let's all be friendly to each other out there. I don't want to see anyone insulting or hurling insults while we're live, please. The Luka are only valued so high because popularity of basketball is so much higher. Yeah, I just said that. Good point, Cardboard King. Those Kane cards are tough. Yeah, for sure. Rich Barone, Seattle is a growing city and a team can survive there if there's money there. So, that's what matters, is that the team can survive there, as Jay was saying earlier. Can you imagine if McDavid ever gets traded to LA? Well, you can imagine that because we have experience with almost an identical situation, being Wayne Gretzky getting traded there. So we can imagine it and it can happen. But interesting point for sure. David says the people in Quebec City are extremely passionate about hockey. Could have been like a Green Bay Packers for hockey. Yeah. It's too bad they don't have a team there. It sure is. And it's such so many what if scenarios in terms of McDavid getting traded. Eichel with Taylor Hall should increase both Young Guns. I agree with that. I think it'll increase their Young Guns if they play better, if they get more points. That's what they need to do. And I think that will happen. What do you guys think of Barzal? Will he stay an Islander? He signed, Rich. He signed today or yesterday, $7 million for 3 years. So $21 million for 3 years. It's a done deal. Costa Local says, Jay, what's your favorite Flames card in your collection?
My favorite Flames card in my collection. I've taken it and pulled it aside to show. So I'll give me a second. I'll grab it.
Okay. And I'm going to run through some other comments because there's so many here. What do you think of this? Hold on a sec, Jay, but we're going to get back to your answer. What do you think of the Central Red Army cards that came? Yeah, I remember those hockey. The Sergei Fedorov was a popular one. It had a pinhole in it. Like all the cards had a pinhole in them, except for very few. And I think Artur Zerbe had a card in that set too. Unimportant at this point in time. Unimportant. There's better rookie cards for players that had rookies in those sets. Although there were so many players that had rookies in those sets that didn't have any other rookies, but they were really players that just played in Russia. Jay, favorite Flames card?
Okay, so it's Matthew Tkachuk's Premier.
Pull it back a bit.
1/1 RPA. Is it a really bad shadow?
Very nice.
So it's the full mountain patch. So it's his Premier 1/1. It covers a couple of main parts of my PC, of course, being that he's a Flames rookie card, but it's also the patch that's in it. I'm always actively seeking for one of the 2 shoulder patches from the Flames uniform, so either the Canada flag or the Alberta flag, and that one has it. That one has it in it, so it's a beautiful card.
It is a beautiful card, man. I love those Premier Upper Deck Premier collection is absolutely gorgeous. I love the acetate finish to them. I love the big patches. The autographs look so vibrant on that acetate surface, and they pick great patches for the 101s, which is really nice to see. So that's a beautiful card, man. I'd love to own that one. Okay, let's keep on going here. I mean, there's some controversy in the chat right now, Jay, but I want to bring this comment up because, you know, even Gretzky said McDavid is the most talented player he's ever seen. Gretzky also just said that Quinn Hughes has the best hands he's ever seen, or hands as good as his, or something like that. The defenseman for the Vancouver Canucks. Okay, I'm gonna roll through some of these. We're gonna end this soon, Jay. We've been going on 2 hours 15 minutes already, and I know you've been in and out due to some technical issues, but I'm glad to see you're here and strong for the last little while. I'd like you guys to stop this discussion about McDavid, if you don't mind, because it's just clogging up the comments for me at this point. Rich Brown says metal sets had pure silver and gold cards. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. JR says, what do Jer and Jay prefer, shield or property of? I love this question. What do you prefer, a shield or a property of? Jay, go first.
Shield for me.
Yeah, property of for me. I don't own a shield. I don't own a single shield. I've owned 2 in my life, I think, and I didn't like either of them that much. I'm not a shield guy. I love property ofs, though. I just love the looks of them. There you go, JR. And that's what's beautiful, Jay, right? We all like different things. That's why the hobby is so interesting and so much fun. Oscar Dad, does Jay like uniformity in his collection? Example, do all sets need to be either graded or ungraded, or is he happy to mix and match?
I am happy to mix and match. So my sets, if I'm trying to complete a set, base set with the rookies, I'm virtually not going to get any of those cards graded. Certainly not the base cards. When we get into sets that have the rookies that are RPAs, I'll be selective on which ones I'll send in for grading, much the same as everybody else does. If I don't have a card that is going to grade very well, of course I'm not going to send it. A lower valued card, it's just, I'm not going to take a $20 card and send it for a $40 grade. So I'm selected that way on what I do. My Flames collection, as much as possible, I get as much of that graded as I can. But grading is not the end all be all for me. I enjoy it. And of course I want to get a nice grade on some of my nicer stuff. But I'm not a high grade headhunter, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, for sure it does. For sure it does. And man, I found myself wanting to say, okay, that's a great approach, but like everybody's approach is awesome, is great. If you're collecting what fulfills the needs in your life, the reason you collect, if it fills that, whatever it is, that I don't call it a hole because it's got negative connotations, but I think it is, something like just that need for stimulus, really, whatever makes you happy is a great approach. Okay, Legion. After the California wildfires, everything inside and out of our house was covered in a thick layer of sticky black oily soot. Thankfully, all my cards were boxed up at the time. Yeah, like so important to take care of and make sure your cards are stored properly. Sometimes you have a few on display, as I do behind me, but those are cards that if the house goes up in flames, I'm going to be okay with it. There's a couple I wouldn't be okay with, but anyway, all right. What else do we have here from the chat? Let's see. I'm skipping a whole bunch from a bunch of you guys at this point in time, but we have tons of comments coming through. Costa says, nice Kachuk to you, Jay. Yes, that was very, very nice Kachuk. Rich Brown is cheering on Boston University. Get your Dubés get your Dylan Dubé cards first in line. Yeah, Dylan Dubé, I think he's going to be great. Manjapani and Dubé, I'm very excited for them on the Flames this year. Rich Barone, Kachuk and Eichel. Yeah, I love Kachuk and Eichel. I'm excited for Jack Eichel this season. I think he's going to have a good year. Why is Theo Fleury not in the Hockey Hall of Fame when the NHL Hall of Fame seems to be the Hall of Good? Yeah, you got to wonder why he's not in there yet. Brett, I believe McKinnon is the best player in the NHL. Yeah, like so do I. McKinnon, I think he's the best player all around. I think he's the best all-around player. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, he may not, McDavid might be more skilled, but doesn't make you the all-around best player. You have to be able to use that skill to really be the best player. And McKinnon might do more with less skill than McDavid does. So anyway, enough of the McDavid talk for tonight, I think. Big unit, 2 bold predictions for 2021. Market stays strong and Sports Cards Live hits 10,000 subs. Great guest and most interactive live stream I've watched. I hope you're right on both. That would be really cool. If this channel can get to 10,000 subs, that would be awesome. I was hoping to hit 2,000 before the end of the year, but I didn't. I think we're like 1,881 right as of after the last episode. So, hey, we'll get there eventually. And we're having fun with the growth. The growth and the journey is all part of the fun. And this show is a big part of the hobby for me now, of course. So I do love it. Charles says, Jeremy's show is growing and only growing higher. Thank you, Charles. Scott says, how does Jay acquire most of his cards to build the set? Seems harder to do these days getting the commons.
I actually open up quite a bit of product. So it's my collecting, and the way I go about it is, I don't want to say I buck the trend, but a lot of people in the market are looking for very specific cards that, ultimately financially wouldn't make sense for them to go to their local card shop and buy these cases and open them up to try and find one specific card or maybe 2 or 3. Whereas for a set builder, it makes sense for me to do that, to go and open up my own product, so that I have that opportunity to finish that base set. And of course, pick up some nice stuff along the way. I mean, I'm hoping for that just like everybody else is, but I open up a lot of my own product, and the stuff that I'm missing, I do a lot of it on eBay. I think like most people do, once I get the product open and cataloged and into a binder, I'm looking to find those missing cards as quickly as I can, as close to release day as I can, especially for the common stuff.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Jay, do you collect any other memorabilia cards, stick pieces, or anything?
I do. I have some of it. So the Premier did the Mega Sticks. I've got some of those. I do have some property of cards, one of ones. So yeah, I take them with if it fits into the PC. If it's a Flames player, then yeah, absolutely I do. Yeah, I think they're cool cards. Actually, they're really cool.
Yeah. I love the property ofs myself. There's a question coming up from Jesse. What is your favorite property of? I've got a Jeremy Roenick that's beautiful. I've got 3 Dale Hawerchucks in my Dale Hawerchuk collection, and one of them I think is just spectacular looking. I love the looks of it. If you're asking for what year, I'm sorry, I can't. 2015s I really liked, but I can't remember the year of the other one that I love. I could go searching for it in my images here and tell you what year it was, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it because for some reason it's not opening these files for me. I'll try and open it right now and see if it does open. I'll show you. No, it didn't open. But yeah, 2016, I really like the look of those ones as well. What do we have here from Terry? Terry says, I'm not a big fan of Shields either, but do love the property ofs. Yeah, we're on the same page there, Terry. YYC says the Flames haven't even retired Fleury's number yet. An absolute crime and insult to Theo. Fair comment. Legion says 2,000 subs and Jeremy will shave his head. I tend to shave my head every couple of weeks anyway, Legion. So yeah, you guys got my word on that one for sure. Richie says it's just fun to rip. But now Richie's watching on YouTube. This is Richie here, the mayor of Canada. The mayor of Canada lives on Long Island, New York, just for everyone's knowledge. Hockey. Jay, since you open up so much product, what do you do with the commons? Do they go in the recycling bin?
Absolutely not. I will get my set built, and depending on how much I open of the product, I'll get together as many base sets as I can. So a product like Series 1, Series 2, SP Authentic, those products, I'll end up with a whole bunch of base sets, and I'll get them to nieces, nephews, their friends. If I can put together, like Series 1, if I can put together 7 or 8 base sets, I'll make sure that they get out to kids. I've never put a single card of any value in a recycle bin or a fire pit. I would just never do that. I would find a place for any card that would somebody would consider putting into a recycling bin.
I give them away on Halloween. That's been my way to move out some base cards and that. Cardboard King Jeremy, will you ever do live box breaks? Canada needs some breakers. I'm tired of paying 30% more doing US breaks. Let me think about that. Absolutely not. I will never do box breaks. It does not interest me whatsoever. But I respect the request, and if I was your guy, I would have been happy to do it. Hockey, Jeremy growing his hair out, need to get Hulk Hogan's skullet levels. Not a chance, not a chance. Rich Brown, I donate my comments to Children's Hospital Wars. Yeah, very nice to do. David G, tapping out. See you later. Have a good night. Thanks for joining. Native Card Guy, comments should never go anywhere but to a kid that can't afford them or can't get their hands on them. 100% agree with that. David G, thank you for joining. You're welcome for another great show. Really appreciate that. Oscar, Cardboard King, no, Jeremy's not interested in doing breaks, mate. Hey, Oscar, Dad knows me very well. I have zero interest in doing that. Charles, very true Native Card Guy. That's how I started off. That's really nice. Is there going to be a return of sports cards live recorded? Yeah, good question. I did like 4 of those videos. Then I didn't do any. I was planning to do them over the holidays and I just didn't have time. Yes, there will be a return. There will be a return of them at some point. Native Card Guy donates thousands of aprons to underprivileged children in remote Native communities. Yeah, as you should, right? Spread it out, especially to people who can't otherwise get them. I love hearing that. Jason Pringle, my kids love base cards. There you go. Come to my house on Halloween next year, Jay. I'll give them tons. It's Sports Card Live recorded Hockey 99. So, I don't understand that comment. I wish I did. Sports Cards Live recorded. There you go. Yes. What do you think of Facebook? What do you guys think of Facebook card fire sales? Good deal or suckers born every day? I see fire sale. I scroll right by. I don't pay any attention to fire sales. How about you, Jay?
That's not something I would even stop on if I saw one. To be honest with you, I think just like any sale, it has so much to do with the seller. Of the guys that I bought through Facebook, my community, my Facebook community, who I deal with, nobody would ever advertise a fire sale. So, but again, it has everything to do with the seller, of course. But I tend to lead to the side of, if you got to advertise that way, you're looking for the sucker that was born that day.
When I see fire sale, I think, whoa, like it's just, I don't know. To me, it's horrible marketing because you're basically. To me, the perception I get from that is they're garbage cards. Why would I want any card someone's willing to fire sale? You lost me right at fire sale. Just me. Big Daddy Cool, as a fellow collector with a lot of money invested, should I have extra insurance carrier to cover fire, theft, etc.? Is there an insurance company that specializes in collectibles insurance? I think the answer is yes, you should. If you're I don't know where you are, Big Daddy, but if you're in the US, there are, Beckett puts out emails all the time with an insurance provider for collectibles. So just find that somehow. In Canada, it's a little bit different. I think you got to talk to your provider and just let them know what you have. Give them a value and they might put a rider on your policy. Native Card Guy, I have 80 grand insurance on my collection, which may vary with, but his big cards are in the bank. Yeah. Brett says, my favorite hockey set was Upper Deck check cards with the Korea rookie. I'm hoping Upper Deck will make a set like that again. I remember those cards very well. There's some really cool cards in there, actually. Comment to Big Daddy Cool. Yes, you need insurance if you have an extensive collection. I can recommend my insurance broker in Canada if you're Canadian. Very nice of you, Rob. Native Card Guy says, most of my collection has come to me in this past year, other than the cards my parents got as gifts and keep. And we are, for the first time, Jay, at the bottom of the comments.
There you go.
Wow, I feel like I can breathe for a second here. It's been a lot of action there tonight, guys. So thank you for that. Jay, I'm losing my voice, man.
Yeah, you just got through a lot of stuff there.
Yes, yes, I did. I'm getting tired, so we're gonna wrap this up right away. Any issue? I'm still willing to go for a few more minutes, Jay. If there's anything you want to discuss, anything that comes to mind from your end.
You know what? I think when you invited me onto the show, I think one of the things that I wanted to say is that what you bring to the hobby is really important. You bring good, fair, honest, and valuable content for collectors. You know, and I think I just on air on the show want to tell you that I think not just me, but everybody values your opinion and what you do for the hobby very much. Because at the end of the day, yeah, there's a lot of money involved in this, but there's still lots of collectors. There's so many collectors, and people like you, and having something like this is an opportunity to bring all of those collectors together so that they can share their stories and their backgrounds, and you know what works and what doesn't work. And I just wanted to tell you that this is a great thing that you're doing, and what you do for the hobby is absolutely amazing.
Thanks, man. High praise. I appreciate the nice words, the feedback, the encouragement. You know, it encourages me to keep going. So I do appreciate that a lot. You know, I have my opinions, and I know sometimes I share my opinions on things, and then I'm like, you know, maybe that's not my opinion. I think things through a little bit. It's like, you know, so well, I appreciate that people are watching, and we have a great audience. You know, don't take everything I say to be gospel, to be truth, to be factual. I have my takes, I have my biases, just like everybody does. But I do my best to stay. I try to stay kind of even if I can. And so I appreciate that, Jay. Really nice comments from you. Let's go through a few of the comments that have been rolling in, and then we'll call it a night. Okay.
Oh.
So Terry says, yeah, sorry, Terry. I saw that question, and for some reason I lost it. Terry wanted to know earlier, have either of us bought into the Vezina collection, which is a very limited product being put out by Dr. Brian Price and President's Choice Trading Cards. It's a product, 150 boxes. Each box has 2 cards, and it's only George Vezina memorabilia cards. Mm-hmm. Were you even familiar with it, Jay? Had you heard about it?
I was, yeah. I had heard about it. So and this is not to take away from any other manufacturer. It was sort of along the years just a line that I drew in the sand. I only collect Upper Deck product. And like I said, that's not a knock to any other manufacturer. And as far as that goes, I think President's Choice puts out, I go to the website often and look at some of their stuff. I think they put out an unbelievable product. But no, I have not gone there. I am aware of what it is, and I've looked at it. I think it's an amazing product. But like I said, I've drawn that line in the sand. Financially, I stay with Upper Deck because you gotta stop somewhere. So
yeah, you gotta kind of have your boundaries just from a financial perspective. Even Terry, I did buy one box of it. I've paid for it, and I'm eagerly anticipating receiving it, and then we'll see what I do with it from there. I.e., I'm not going to flip it, but I don't know how soon I'm going to open it. I just don't know. I might maybe wait till we hit a big subscriber level, have Dr. Price on with me, and I'll open it with him or something like that. But I do have a box coming, and I'm very excited to receive it. I think it's going to be an amazing product. Oscar Dad, thank you very much for awesome after hours, guys. Thank you so much. Richard, I love the Blasty jerseys. How about you guys? I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by Blasty jerseys. I'm sorry.
The new horse head on the Flames jersey.
Oh, I don't like them. I don't like the horse head jersey at all. Never did. Are trading cards for a card at your dealership on the table?
Oh, yeah.
For a car. Yeah. Bring him car. He'll trade you a car for cards for sure. Why not, right, Jay? Why not? Keeps it off the books. Mm-hmm. Charles says, I think you guys have broken the last after hours episode for the longest time. Yeah, we might be. Mike Zier, I don't even like hockey cards. That's how cool this show is. That's a great compliment, Mike. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for commenting. Didn't know you were there, but I'm glad you are, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Legion. Thank you, Native Card Guy. And feed a homeless person if you see him, guys. Spend the love. Yes, I will be doing that myself for sure. Thank you, Hockey. Thank you, Rob. You need to have it appraised for sure. Cardboard King, thank you so much for joining. Rob Demare, thank you very much. Good to see you. Hockey says Jeremy should get a Gemini. Yeah, that'd be that'd be hilarious actually. But I don't know that I should. But thank you, Scott. Thank you so much, man. Making you a hockey fan. That's awesome. Goal achieved. Let's bring you over to the fun side. Cardboard King, take care. Take care, Rob. Take care, you guys. No, nothing personal. Not in this chat. Dave Jones, thank you so much. Awesome discussion. Interesting to hear how other people approach collecting. Thank you so much. Carlos caught up later. 2 times speed for the win. 2 hours 30 minutes. Not bad for part 1. Thanks, Carlos. Good to see you tonight. Okay, everybody. We're gonna end this broadcast. This was fun. Jay, thank you. And I'm glad you stuck it out and that we stuck it out for you during those technical difficulties earlier. This has been much better for the past hour or so. So thanks so much for joining tonight. I hope you enjoyed it, Jay. Tell me you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
My pleasure, man. Rich Barone, you be good. You be good too, my brother. YYC, thank you so much. Go Flames. I'll get behind you. I'll get behind you on that all the time. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Jay. Hang tight 1 second. We are going to end this. Everybody, good night. And next Saturday, we have Carvin Chung. Will be always good insights. Tons of experience in the hobby. He invented the cup and exquisite, so he'll be my guest next Saturday. So come join us then. Go Jets, go! Native Card Guy. I can get behind that. Go Jets, go! That's fine. Great show. Thank you, Charles. And I am hitting the button right now to end it. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thank you all for joining. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and hit the thumbs up button, please. And thank you. Good night.